What's up, everybody? It's your boy Bill Forster. Happy Monday. I hope everybody had a wonderful weekend. This in this segment of Real Talk Chronicles, I've asked some beautiful people to come, some special people, and they will elaborate and tell on themselves who they are and what they do and how they do it. One person is extra special tonight, and you'll hear why later. Um, this is Real Talk Chronicles, and I'm your host, Bill Forster. And my lovely wife, Malika Forster, is somewhere in this place doing Malika Forster stuff. But she is around and she is doing what she does. What's up, everybody? It's your boy, Bill Forster. So, this is this segment of Real Talk Chronicles. Like anything, we talk about the current events that are happening in the world today. And, there's always a lot to talk about, right? But before that happens, I want to introduce two people with me today that some may not really need any introduction because they are people of the tri-state area. One person is really world renowned, real famous, but we'll let that come out later. But I want to start off with my man Ken Smaltz. Uh, Ken, welcome to the show. How are you doing today, brother?
I'm good. I'm good. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, absolutely. Can you just let the world know what does Ken Smaltz do for a living, or what his career goals or aspirations are?
Well, I've spent the last 30 plus years in the industry of precious metals and rare coins. That's what I did for a living for over 30 years. I do it partly part time now, but that was my career. About a few years ago, I started a nonprofit for Alzheimer's. But what I'm currently working on right now is a voting rights initiative, nonpartisan, to encourage African Americans to vote.
Awesome. I appreciate you, man. And we definitely will be conversing about voting today. Now, the next individual has a very special place in my heart. And I'll tell you all why. For those out there who don't know, Real Talk Chronicles started from the passing of my mother. And I knew I needed therapy, but I didn't go clinically. What I did, I went personally, I went family oriented. And at the time, there was a core of 8 of us that came by and helped clean up the apartment and things of that magnitude. And with that being said, it was just a wonderful experience for all of us to talk. And we started just talking and conversing about our upbringing and who we are, because every relationship starts from who conceived us, our parents, our grandparents, whomever raised us, our brothers, sisters. It just transcended to who we are to this day. With that being said, like I said, there were 8 of us that started, and we said we were going to do once a month. We were going to get together, and we were just going to invite maybe 2 people if we want. And it just, anybody who knows me, I have a promotional background, and it just grew and grew and grew. But this one individual here with us today took it upon herself to kind of carry me with her around her friends and not let me be alone, and just made sure I was busy during the holidays because it happened with my mother. It happened around Christmas and Thanksgiving, and she just made sure that you know she stayed with me and kept me in her eyesight to make sure I was righteous. And I want to say thank you to her. She is an original member. She is Real Talk Chronicles. Don't let anybody tell you. But also want to say happy 30th anniversary on her hit single, Just Call My Name. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce you to the multi-talented, phenomenal Harlem Night, my sister, Alyson Williams.
Hi,
Alyson.
Ken. How are you?
So the beautiful thing about Alyson right now, everybody, is we're going to start doing maybe once a month. We're going to have a real talk with just Alyson and I, and whomever we get to come on, and we're just going to kick it and have real talk about what life is about. But Alyson will be co-hosting with that segment with me, and we're going to do that once a month. So Alyson, how are you doing, sister?
I am doing wonderful. I'm blessed and highly favored. And I don't care if that sounds cliche because it's the truth.
Absolutely.
I want to say thank you for inviting me, not only to be here tonight, but on the future ventures. As you said, we started this a long time ago.
Yeah.
And as you talked about it, I know that your mom was very special to you. You had a very deep relationship with your mom. And we found out there was a Taurian correct connection. And
You and her born on the same day.
all of that. And all I knew was that my friend Bill was going through that thing that I had gone through. And, we have mothers, we have fathers, we have aunts, we have uncles. You only get one mother.
Right.
Baby, you're never prepared. Ever. I don't care whether it's illness, I don't care whether it's age, I don't care what it is. You're never prepared to lose your mom. And I just felt like I needed to embrace him. So I began to drag him around with me as he.
Yes, you did.
We went to Christmas dinners and Thanksgiving celebrations and the club, whatever it was, whether it was a large gathering or small. I just had to have Bill because I wanted him to be able to I didn't want him to forget or not address the fact that he was going through a loss, but I wanted him to go through it knowing that he was not alone. Absolutely. And that he could have things that could bring beauty. You know what I'm saying? Everything he looked at could remind him of something that was incredible and phenomenal about his mother.
Also, I just remember when your mother passed away, like you performed that night and I was standing there in awe, like, wow, like that is the art of professionalism. Like I couldn't believe that you got up at Nell's and performed and just rocked. And it was so much emotion and things of that magnitude. And I commend you because that was just beautiful. And like you said, you took me around and, people like Freddie Jackson, Valerie Simpson, Ashford Simpson, Lord rest his soul, they all accepted me with you. And that was a beautiful thing. And I just want to say thank you so much. I appreciate you with that. And when I started talking about Malika and I, when we started doing this live, I told you, I said, yo, Alyson, I reached out. I said, listen, we're going to do this. I want you to have a segment because, the core 8 is scattered. Everybody's doing what they're doing, what they have to do in this world. But, the bottom line is, I kick it with you more than anybody else. And I just want to shout out to everybody out there that's watching. I asked my panelists tonight, we're going to talk about a whole bunch of stuff. I asked you, just go to my page, like it and share it. Just go under you'll see us and you can just share it because we're going to have some talking and we're going to kick it. Alyson, how is it? Kim, we're going to get to you in a minute, but Alyson, 30 years, just call my name. How do you feel about that? Like the first lady of Def Jam, everybody. This is the first lady of Def Jam, Russell Simmons' side. So go ahead, Alyson.
I feel really appreciative to even just be here living and breathing on the earth and in the middle of a pandemic. There are a lot of different obstacles that could have turned out different for me. And I'm glad. The thing that I think about most is that how did I miss the 20th and the 25th anniversary of Just Call My Name?
Right, exactly.
30 years I'm glad to celebrate. I'm glad to be here. But there were several milestones that somehow I missed in the midst of just keeping it going, doing what you do, travel on the road, family issues, whatever. And you don't look up and you don't say, wow, this is something I accomplished. This is something that I share with the world.
Yeah. Phenomenal song.
When I found that, that this was, we were in our 30th year, I was like, well, I don't want to have to wait till the 35th. I said, I need to start really paying attention to all of those who not only, it's not just me, it's everybody who had any connection to that song, anybody who loved that song, anybody whose mama played that song, anybody who conceived to that song. There's so many ways that song has reached out to people. It has stood the test of time, and it's never been just a male-female love song. It has been a song that could speak to your family, your friend, your god sister, your god brother, your cousin, your homie. It's Just Call My Name is a universal situation. And I'm so thankful that was something that God saw fit to attach to me so that I could bring that message. And when it comes to just being a good old, old school love song, it is what it is. And we all and we've all stood the test of time right along with it. So I'm really excited. You know,
it's definitely a classic. Ken, let me ask you a question. How have you been doing during this pandemic, man?
You know, I think I got this from my dad. I've always been somewhat of a recluse.
Okay.
I have two sides. My mother was very outgoing, and my father was reclusive. So I could be indoors for long periods of time without speaking to anyone and be fine with it. So this is really, it was no big deal for me.
And we definitely
Really no big deal for me. I was kind of used to it.
Okay, cool. Because I know, this whole thing about this pandemic, and it's just so crazy how this is just taking over the world and what we are going through as people. I mean, we're going to talk about the president and stuff, and like, dude catches it, and he's able to take medicine that we can't get affordable for us, but he wants to take away Obamacare, but he wants to do things for himself because he's the president. He's going to get all these medicines that are not FDA approved yet. But then he wants to talk about, oh, well, you can beat COVID too. So, I mean, that's a whole nother topic. But I know the one thing about Malika and I, after a while, we started, that anxiety started to set in when this whole COVID thing, because, they talk about don't go out, droplets on this happens, that happens. And, you get all nervous. So, I mean, you two elaborate on, I'll ask you, Alyson, like, what was your mental going through this? Shout out to Melba Moore. Shout out to everybody watching. Melba, Alyson and I, we're going to get you on this show. So we're going to be calling you real soon, sis. And the thing is, too, everybody out there, this is Real Talk Chronicles. I'm your host, Bill Forster. Hope you like it and share it. We are YouTube Live. We are Facebook Live. So, Allie, what was your like when you first found out about this COVID and coronavirus 19 and this whole pandemic that we're going through right now?
It's odd. I have to kind of go with what Brother Ken was saying. I am kind of for everything about me that's an extrovert and an artist. I really, for those of people who know me, not about a big crowd. I'm not about a whole bunch. I kind of like intimacy and I like my alone time. So for me, not having to go outside, and especially with what New York has become, even before COVID. And what I felt about New York, being a native New Yorker and a Harlemite, I was kind of okay with not. Okay, go out, do what you got to do, hop over the 10,000 garbage bags, and then get back to the house. That's how I was.
Yeah.
I was distraught that people could put up all of these signs all over, and I'll use Harlem as an example. Luxury homes and this, that, and the other. I know what luxury looks like, and it don't look like that. If you all are charging these exuberant rents and what have you, and forcing people out of places that have become their homestead, so New York had just become a different thing for me, especially having been my playground for all of my life. Mm-hmm. So when it came down to us being shut down, it wasn't a big deal. I had a physical accident with my quadricep muscle. I ruptured my quadricep muscle. Y'all Google quadricep. And so on January 3rd, I was shut down anyway.
Right.
I literally could not go anywhere. I could not get out into the street. I could not work and do gigs. And special shout out to all of my angels who came and brought the meals and washed the dishes and took out the garbage, helped me to do the things that we take for granted.
Yes.
By the time, January 3rd hit, January 22nd, I had a surgery. And then by the time I was at least healed enough to, on one crutch, hobble to a venue and maybe sit on a stool and sing a set, they shut everything down. It was like I did 2 gigs. Maybe I did something in Chicago with Mickey Howard, and then I came home and I did something with Nat Adderley Jr. in Harlem at Minton's. And then that very next week, I think I had 1 or 2 things at one of my locals, which was the Red Rooster with Lucas. Yeah. And then it was done. There was no place. Not only could I not go, there was no place to go.
Yes. Yeah.
And so as an artist, I was completely shut down, and it was a very frightening, and still continues to be frightening, because our industry has not opened back up on certain levels.
Right, right, and I'm sure because that's your bread and butter. That's how So this whole working from home ain't really working from home for you. You know what I'm saying?
Well, it has its limitations, but you have to fight through it, as well as you also have to realize how it affects you mentally and emotionally. Because what we do as artists is not done just in a box, as we are right now in this rectangle. It's about touching. It's about being there, even not just the physical touch, but the emotional and intellectual, and just that sensation of being able to enjoy live music and to enjoy giving live performance.
Yeah.
There's no audience. I mean, the audience is there. I know you're there. I see y'all. Hey, but to have you there. There's nothing like me being able to sing and then having you walk right up to me, Bill, and go, "Hey, baby."
Yeah. Exactly.
It's something that is unique and special unto that, and we're missing that now. We're missing that on so many levels. So I think that I'm looking forward to see what the quote unquote new normal is, but I'm also very thankful to be able to have opportunities to do things in the box. We keep talking about thinking outside the box. Now we got to think right in the middle of the box.
Yeah.
And think of ways outside the box to make the box more lucrative, more appetizing, more monetizing. We have to think of all of these things and know that this might be the way it's done.
Yeah.
You have to adapt yourself into that. I'm just thankful that some of my gigs have had a resurgence. When most people, if we lost gigs in 2020, they just weren't coming back to 2021. So to have a paycheck was just like, it was like you just were in awe. You're in awe. So in the midst of being in awe and being in a constant state of gratefulness, great and thankfulness, in this situation. This is stranger than fiction, y'all, and it has affected all of us. Whether you're in the arts, whether you're in corporate America, whether you're an educator, whether you're in the medical field, no matter what you do, the playing field has been leveled so incredibly. And we have really had to see how we've been put on pause for a reboot.
And it's not gonna get any better. What I mean by that is the pandemic probably will get back to the way we used to, but all of those people that are out on the street right now, in the next 5 to 10 years, there's going to be 40% of the workforce that's going to be more out on the street because of AI, artificial intelligence. And they've been talking about that for a while. So this new normal that we're getting used to in the next 3, 4, 5 years, it's going to be really tough. Whatever it is that you're doing right now, if you can see that a robot can do the exact same thing, you better start rethinking what your plans were.
And what's so funny you said that, Kim, because the bottom line is we come from an era, all of us, where there was a token booth clerk. There was a person that at the turnstile, you know what I'm saying? There was always somebody that we had to give our money to if we was driving across a bridge.
Or speak to.
Yeah, exactly. To speak to.
Or who?
Information from.
Yeah.
Yes. You go into grocery stores now in the malls and you see the robots rolling around. That's right.
Yeah. Everything is self-checkout and stuff like that. So, Ken, let me ask you a question. I know you talked about you can be a little introverted too when you're home. You have different personalities like that, like we all do, because we know, like, as much as I'm a outward person, when I'm home, Malika's like, yo, like sometimes you just want to be quiet. Yeah, because we're such entertainers. We're so hosts. Because I mean, Ken, the last time I saw you before we saw each other in Harlem, it was at your house. You had a gathering. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I think in Long Island.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I mean, I've seen you in Harlem since then, but I'm just saying one of the last times when we really were able to break bread like that was out in Long Island. So let me ask you a question. Just like, it's one thing to want to be alone because you want to be alone. How did you deal with the fact of being alone because you may have had to be alone?
I still was okay with it. I hate to say that. Cool. And the reason I say I'm part my dad, part my mom's. My mom's was very outgoing. I mean, if people who know me, they'll be like, there's no way that Ken is a recluse, right?
Yeah.
Because when they see me out, I'm out. I'm having a good time. I like to go to these little events that people will invite me to. What I like more often as I've gotten older is I like more quaint events, people's homes and things of that
Right,
nature.
right.
And I enjoy that. But I also enjoy when the party is over.
It's
There's no
time to
more
go home.
closing
Yeah.
the clubs down and anything. I can go home, and I look forward to go home. I look forward to it. I look forward. That's why I like to make my environment comfortable and peaceful and what have you. And I have art, as you can see on the back walls and whatever. I am very comfortable in my environment, and I do not mind being by myself. I know that may be a problem, but I don't find it a problem.
It is what it is.
So I don't think so. I think everyone went through their own or is going through their own reawakening in this situation in terms of how they evaluate and look at themselves. Like I said, I've known people from the very beginning, when we didn't even really know what was going on. It was a thing of they were people who like to go out and hang out a little bit and go to a club or go to a bistro or whatever. But the minute they were told that they couldn't go,
it was a whole different mentality.
They couldn't breathe. It was like, I'm going. I don't care.
Yeah.
Black people can't catch it. And the who and the how, with a whole lot of madness going on in the very beginning of what we know as the COVID pandemic.
I didn't go out in the first 3 months.
But what was so amazing is that people, if you told them they couldn't go, it was almost like
they wanted to.
They had to go.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And these are people who could have been just as well sitting home doing what they need to do. But the minute you said, don't, please, you can't, don't, refrain, they were just chewing at chomping at the bit to get outside. And that was odd to me.
Hold on, Allie. Hold on for a sec, sis. All right, I just want to give a shout out to everybody that's watching. This is Real Talk Chronicles. This is a public service announcement. This is what we do. If you like it, share it. I ask everybody. Of course, my panel will share, of course, to their Facebook page. I want to shout out to everybody that's watching. Melba said hello, Allie. She said love you. She said get out and vote. Ken, and that's what we're going to talk to, because I want to segue into that and talk about voting. And I want you and Allie to definitely talk about that. Maria Pass, I see you have a birthday coming up. Happy birthday. Hello, Lois. Hello, Roxanne. Brian Douglas Hall said hello, Alyson. He used to be a photographer for Maria Davis. He told you tell you hi. Shout out to everybody that's watching. T Dubs is in the building. Moya. Robbie Jean said she's not comfortable being alone, Ken. So we'll have to talk about that. I want to ask, what's up, Donald? I see you in the building. Everybody, just so thank you for the love. We appreciate you. Natasha said, I'm a socialite, but thrive off the peace and quiet when I'm home. Best of both worlds. Absolutely, Natasha. What's up, Finlayson? I see you, brother. It's all good. This is Real Talk Chronicles. I'm your host, Bill Forster. Thank you for tuning in. I have Ken Smaltz with me, and I have Alyson Williams, the First Lady of Def Jam, the 30th anniversary of Just Call My Name. This is my sister. She is one of the original Real Talkers. She is that core 8. Shout out to all the original talkers that are in the building now that are watching and looking. Shout out to my former NYPD colleagues. I know you're in the building too. Trust me, I'll say something I'm sure that you may not like. It is all right. But what's up, Patricia? I see you. What's up, Veronica? What's up, cuz? Princess Piggy, tell Alyson, Woody, and Deneen miss her. That's what's up. So this is the family. So listen, Ken, let's talk about voting. Mm-hmm. You started this. What drove you to this? First, everybody out there, November 3rd. Malika usually gives me the countdown on how many days we have left. Ken, if you know, please tell us. But
I think it's 22.
Yeah, 22.
I think. I'm
yeah,
not
all right.
sure.
All right. So let's talk about voting. Let's get into this. If you want to divulge later or as you converse and kick it about who you're going to vote for, I'm not voting Trump. That doesn't mean I'm not a Republican. Doesn't mean I'm a Democrat. It's just right now I am not voting for this dude. I do not like what he is doing. I don't like what he says. I think he's an antagonist. You know what I'm saying? I just, he is an agitator for the groups that are out there agitating. And I just think, really real talk, there might be a civil war coming. Gun stores right now are out of guns, they're out of ammunition. Ammunition is so high. I tell everybody out there, get your rep your Second Amendment rights, get your weapons if you can. If there are certain cities and countries right now that you can still be, even if you're a felon, you can get a gun license. So you can get a home gun license if you're a homeowner. So, even if it's a shotgun or a rifle or something like that. I'm telling you right now, with these Proud Boys and these antagonizers from, the Nazis and the KKKs and whatever, please, people of color, exercise your rights. So, Ken, go ahead, elaborate some and tell us what got you in this? What are you feeling?
It was 2004. I was really upset about what happened in 2001 when they had in Florida where they took the vote and they kind of stole the election.
Yes.
If you remember that, the hanging chads and all that stuff. And that looks like what may be happening
again
November 3rd. Yeah, which it's interesting. It's like a whole circle. But in 2004, there was a button. This all started from a button. Black folk must vote is not a slogan I came up with. It's actually a slogan that started during the 1960 civil rights era. And something about the slogan just resonated with me. And I decided to trademark it 2 months before the election when John Kerry was running. And so I took the slogan, trademarked it, and then made up like 200 or some shirts. And I went to Howard Homecoming. I couldn't think of where to go. It was last minute. I just wanted to see if everyone felt about this slogan the way that I did. So I just made up like 200 or 300 shirts, went to Howard Homecoming, and I won't tell you the whole story, but I sold the whole batch. And
awesome.
I was right directly across the street from a van, not a van, it was kind of like a big truck selling Vote or Die t-shirts. Because at that time, it was just Rock the Vote is the oldest, I think, voting rights initiative. Then Vote or Die came out somewhere around 2004. And then me.
Okay.
Now it's everybody. Everybody has a voting rights initiative. But I was right directly across from a truck selling Vote or Die. And we sold everything. And that made me, when I went back home, it made me say, something, I always wanted to do something to give back, to create some kind of a legacy, just to give back to, just to do something that was worthwhile. I've always been in the financial industry. I don't know if I've ever helped anybody. I don't think I have. Maybe. I don't know. But I really felt that this was something important. So I started a voting rights initiative in 2004. And I've been.
How's it going?
And we thank you. And we thank you.
Oh, thank you.
It takes a great deal of courage to be able to say, this is something I believe in. I'm going to print it on a few t-shirts and a couple of buttons, and I'm going to take it into a public forum and see what happens. Didn't have a major sponsorship behind you. You didn't have a major machine to turn you out onto the mainstream, but you took the chance. You took the chance, B, and that's incredible.
When I first started it, I got some press from, and I don't know if I should say it or not. It was, let's just say it was a big black station that really liked the slogan. I met with them in their offices, and we signed an agreement, a contract for them to use it on their network. And then after about, I don't know, 6 or 7 months, right before the election, they changed their mind and they went a different direction. So ever since, I've been financing it on my own. Fortunately, I had the time, I had the money, and this has pretty much been, when you talk about grassroots, I mean, you can't get any more grassier than this. This is pretty much just me, and every so often I've gotten some volunteers and what have you, but I've pretty much been the point person, the finance person here. It was just this the last 6 months where an organization, a network called Fox Soul, called me and said that they wanted to partner. And I've never had this much publicity or outreach ever before. I've always been doing it on my own.
Well, Ken, I know you have a video, a YouTube thing that I will put into the group so everybody can see it. They can click on it and show some love and support. It's very positive and conscious. And also, too, before the night is over, and when the night is over, I will YouTube Alyson's song, Just Call My Name, and 30th anniversary, just to give her some love with that, because that's my dog, and I love her. And so, Ken and Alyson, give me your insight on this whole voting situation. They're talking about, the post office and just, the president talking about he not going out of office without a fight. Like, Biden talking about he going to have to drag him out, which I would love to see. But just give me your insight on what do you feel?
As I had said earlier, these times we're living in are stranger than fiction. You could not imagine that we would be running around or walking around trying to conduct our lives day to day, wearing masks and gloves and all this. It's just really odd just to step outside and then to be in the midst of one of the most important presidential elections of our history for so many reasons. It brings forth so many thoughts and feelings. I know the most important thing is that everyone has to take this very seriously and make sure that they vote, because your vote counts. Yes, there are various situations we're dealing with where there's tampering or where there may be some foul play, things of that nature. But nonetheless, it doesn't mean that you shouldn't make the attempt to go out and do what you need to do. Now, just to share a little something with you today, I went to the post office to cast my vote because I have to vote absentee right now.
Right now.
Only to get to the post office and know that today was Columbus Day and it was closed. So that was my own personal.
The time you had to do it, exactly. The time you had to do it, exactly.
But fear not, tomorrow I will be there when they open and cast that envelope into the chute. But at the end of the day, it just made me feel like with everything else I'm dealing with, I get here to do what I felt proud to do, what I felt obligated to do, and I felt like I knew I was getting it done. You know what I'm saying? Because we put things off to the last minute. We do that with a lot of aspects of our life. We can't afford to do it with this. And so I was like, yeah, you're on time. You got it. You do it. And the dang dong.
So Allie and Ken, let me ask you this question. This is so crazy. Yeah. This is so crazy. I got a question. First, AJ Miller said, "Hey, what's up, Alyson? I see you." Mashira Rodriguez said she loves Alyson Williams. That's a beautiful thing. What's up, Phil? I see you in the building. Hi, Miss Clemens. I see you in the building. Lynn Woody. What's up, everybody? This is Real Talk Chronicles. I'm your host, Bill Forrester, with one of the original Real Talkers, co-host / sister Alyson Williams, and my brother Ken Smaltz in the building. His thing is Black Votes Count. What is it? Black Votes, Ken?
Black folk.
Black folk.
Black folk. So we're going to talk more about that. I have some questions. I see. Shout out to my former NYPD people. I see you in the building, Derek. Veronica has a question for both of you. She said, "What do you all think about mail-in ballots? Do you feel it's being counted?" I'll start with you, Alyson, and then I'll let Ken finish up with that. Go ahead.
Hey, listen, there before the grace of God go I hope that it's being counted. I've done everything that I can, knowing my situation, to make sure that I had everything I needed to be able to be counted. It's just so crazy right now. You don't know. You hear so much on the TV and over the internet and all the conspiracy theories. It's difficult to have faith in it. But all I know is that I got the ballot and I put it in the mail and I put it in the envelope and inside the envelope and inside the envelope, and then went like this and like that. And I sent it. I don't know what else to do. I have to pick my battles as they go. I don't know what happens once it leaves my hand, but I know I made sure it left my hand.
That's awesome. Ken, go ahead. What's your take on it, Ken?
Yeah, I mean, the same thing. You don't know, but you're just going to have to trust that your vote, will be counted. But here's the idea of everyone telling you to vote early. By voting early and getting your votes in, there is no once those votes are in, once the polls close and everyone who went in to vote, they start counting those ballots. You want all of your votes in by then, because if they're not in by then, that is what people are concerned with, that Trump and his party, attorney general or what have you, will start to say, you know something, whatever votes that are not in, you need to put those aside. They don't matter. So that is the reason why everyone is telling you to get your votes in early. If you decide that that's the way you want to go, do it. All right. If you decide that you want to go to the polls, do that. I'm going to the polls. Only because my particular polling station is generally not crowded. It may be more crowded this year, but it's right down the block for me, and I just rather go to the poll and vote. What I would also tell you to do is, if you're planning to send in your vote, read the instructions. They have this thing they just made up. I forgot the city they did it, called naked ballots. A naked ballot basically is, when you get your, I think I have mine here. If you don't put your ballot inside the envelope that they give you, and it just goes by itself, they call that a naked ballot, and they won't count your vote.
Right, which is crap.
Which is crap.
Crap is not the word I want to use.
I understand.
Well, you can say shit.
Within the ballot situation that you receive in the mail, or however you get it, there is your ballot, and then there's an envelope, and then there's an envelope. So you have to put your ballot inside the envelope, fill out that little part on the envelope, and then put it in another envelope. And if you don't do that, they're finding a way to make that a non-valid ballot, which is the 2-syllable word that, listen, this is the sign for the people, the non-speaking people who use sign language. They put up a bull and they put up a tail. But that's what it is.
Let me read something real quick. A friend of mine sent me this. I don't know. First, let me just read it. I'll read the comments. Kimishia Clemens said, "Let your voice be heard." Jay Burnett said, "I think you can trace it, Alyson. There's some code on the ballot." Audrey Wilson is in the Audrey Watson is in the building. She will be tomorrow. Her and Malika will be doing a special segment on breast, I think, cancer awareness and starting your own business. So that will definitely be a conversation. Please, everybody, tune in to Real Talk Chronicles tomorrow. Malika will have her segment on that. Gordon Pratt is in the building. Before inserting the ballot in the envelope, it must be signed.
It must be signed on the back. It's a whole. This is mine. It's a whole bunch of stuff. This is the envelope it came in.
Just read it. Just read the instructions.
And then it came this, and not only did I read it, I kept it because I want to be able to look back on this sometime later and go, wow, remember?
I would take a copy of it, take a picture of it. In case they tell you did not do something, you could prove to them that you did. That's probably not how it's going to go. But what I have to question is, there is no reason why, in the age that we are in, that our votes can't be tabulated by computer, by just I do my banking online. It's all encrypted, what have you. There's a reason why they have this convoluted system to vote, because they don't want you to.
Okay. Yeah.
Can I interject? I saw someone here. I'm so proud of myself. I got 2 devices going at one time.
That's what's up.
I expect to explode at any moment. For me to have this many things going at the same time.
Hey, Alec, listen. I got the tablet. I got the cell phone. I'm rocking with you. So I'm trying to talk to the people.
You got love on a cyber level. I don't have love on the cyber level. For me, it's like cyanide. But I see different people asking, and they're saying, don't forget that the presidential ticket is not the only ticket. And so there's Senate and Congress seats to be considered as well. So you might want to take a minute to at least Google these people and see who they are, whether, who and why they need to be voted for. So that's
if you want to see if you want to see who they are, you can go to my my website, blackfolkmustvote.org, and click on voting resources. And there's a section there called Ballotpedia. And if you hit Ballotpedia, whatever state you're in, you'll see who is running.
Exactly.
On the ticket in your particular state and what their policies are.
Let me ask you a question, and I've already sealed it up and it's ready to go. Like I said, I went today and found out it was Columbus Day. I guess because our kids aren't in school, we've forgotten to take into consideration all the different holidays, but it wasn't open and I was devastated. But tomorrow we'll do it. As I read down the ballot and read down the instructions, the current seated president is not listed by name to circle. It wasn't there. Is something wrong with my ballot, or was I just not reading right?
The only thing I don't understand that, because I heard someone talk about that during the primaries.
When I'm looking down my list of people who were, or even it was early because I got my ballot early.
Did you see Biden?
Biden, yes, and filled it in. Thank you, but no Donald J. Trump. And I was wondering, why is that like that?
That's a good question. And as we sit there and we think about this, I'm just going to read something. First,
I'm looking at mine.
Y'all think about that for a second. I just want to give everybody a shout out. This is Real Talk Chronicles. Hold on, Kenny. Hold on, Ken. This is Real Talk Chronicles. Everybody, I'm your host, Bill Foster. Today, my lovely wife, Malika Foster, is doing what she does. I have Ken Smaltz on the check-in today. I have Alyson Williams with me. We are just talking about life, real talk, balloting, voting. Get out there and vote. We're going to talk about some other stuff. We're going to talk about some police stuff. I just want to read some of the things that are coming in the comments. I want Ken and Alyson to listen to this. I got this from a reliable source. He says, a very reliable, good friend of mine just finished poll working training, and she texts me this. Just finished poll manager training. I passed all the classes. I want you to all to know something. If you are checking in the polls and they happen to write anything on your ballot before they give it to you, excuse me, I don't have my glasses on. I want to put them on. They're right there. I'm being stubborn. If you are checking in the polls and they are happening to write anything on your ballot before they give it to you, to put the voting machine, a letter, a check mark, a star, a R, or a D, any writing of any kind, please request a new ballot. Your ballot could be disqualified if it's written on. Please be on the lookout for this type of behavior.
Okay, Bill, let me just address that. I don't know if that's true or false.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing I say is Google is your friend. And I've heard many things just like that. What Alyson was saying, the reason why I mentioned the primary is because I heard someone make some kind of comment about, I went in to vote and I only saw one party and I didn't understand why the other party wasn't there. So be careful because they're going to do it. In primaries, if you're a Democrat, you're going to see the Democrat. If you're a Republican, you're going to see the Republican.
So that's the answer to my question. I will show you. That is what I have. I have a list of people, and if you'll notice, the current sitting. I'm trying not to show anything else because that doesn't matter. The current sitting president is not listed in the choices, and it concerned me. But maybe it's because the ballot that I have was submitted to me early enough in time.
Primaries.
It was a primary, but it is still a valid ballot.
Right. But you're probably, if you didn't mail it in, it's probably late for the primary, but that's okay. But I don't know if there is truth behind that. There are a lot of rumors, and rumors, back in the day, they say that a lie could get around the world in 1 second before you put your pants on. So be really, really careful about just going with what somebody says. Check into it first. That's all I say. Because with the advent of Facebook, there's so much stuff that people see, they don't look into it, and then they share it, and then that person shares it and shares it and shares it and shares it.
Before you know it, telephone,
And after a while, it becomes truth.
Mhm.
So I don't know if that's the case. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you know, what's so funny? Let me ask you all a question. How fearful are you of tampering and this whole debacle that seems like it's coming with with this election? I've never seen, you know, we could talk about the electoral and things like that, but this is the first time I've ever been like, wow, like this is almost a shit show. You know what I'm saying? Like this is really turning into something like you know, I feel like the president has made this a reality TV show, playing with our lives and our feelings and our emotions. And we're going to talk about Black Lives Matter. We're going to talk about a lot of other things of that magnitude. But I just feel right now that with this, you know, for him to say that he's telling people to vote, mail in the ballots, vote, you know, Ken, also too, when you get a chance, share it to your page because I'm sure your people are talking, and I employ all of you to go back later on in the evening to converse with the people that are talking in these groups because they have a lot to say. I'm trying to talk to you guys and make sure I write. Thank you, Allie, for helping me out with that. And uh, shout out to Phil. Phil J is in the building. He told me to tell you what's up, Ken. Shout out to all of you. This is Real Talk Chronicles. I'm your host, Bill Forster. I have Ken Smaltz with me. I have Alyson Williams, and we are just kicking it. This is just straight real talk. We're talking about voting. We're talking about politics. We are talking about police brutality. We're going to talk about anything that comes across their mind, that comes across the papers. This is real talk. This is what I do. There's a lot of people out there that have a lot of things going on, but they don't have real talk. So I'd like to ask Ken. I have Ken here, and I have Alyson here. So, you know, what do y'all just think about just what he's turning this country into politically? And go ahead, Ken, and then you go ahead, Alyson. Go ahead.
Let me just go first because I think Ken is going to have
right ahead.
insight. I think he's going to have more insight because he's a political advocate. But I want to address something that someone said. Kim Cherie Clemens asked about what about hacking? And that goes back to, you know, how scared are we of what this is about? And someone also offered a response to, you know, all of the different things about how to get a good ballot and feel that we feel safe. And they said, Brian Douglas Hall said, go to the library and get a sample ballot. So just a way for you to, you know, be able to feel more comfortable, I guess. And in terms of hacking, that's a whole nother can of worms.
Yeah,
I'm going to turn it over to Ken because I know that he knows more. But I wanted to address these two things that came up on the chat board.
Thank you, Allie. I need that. I need that help. That's what it is. That's real.
You told me what to do.
That's it. I tell you, that's it. Hold your position. Thank you. And hold on, before we say that, shout out to my lovely wife. I know she's working on some other stuff, but I know she's chiming in on the group too. Malika Vaughn, I love you. Malika Vaughn Forster. And we love you, sister. Go ahead. That's it. Go ahead, Ken.
What was the question that you had asked about the president?
Well, just what do you think about this whole thing that he's doing with making this like a shit show, turning this the post office into, you know, the dude he put in the office to run the post office doesn't even know anything about the post office. They asked him how much is a stamp, and he didn't even know that. So we know this. Go ahead, Ken.
Here's my opinion. I always say, you know, I preface it by saying, you know, my initiative is nonpartisan, okay, but it's not nonsensical. I have been a registered Democrat my whole life, and the way I feel is what happened with getting Donald Trump to be the president or the nominee. When Obama ran, for that 8 years, I was watching every so often Fox News. And I watched it because I wanted to hear what they were saying about the first Black president. And I watched it pretty intently. And I don't watch it anymore, but I did. And what they were saying is what Donald Trump and the Republican Party are now doing. They had been saying for the longest time, when people were dancing around words, they were telling their constituents. They were telling their elected officials, yo, say it. Call him that. Tell him that. Say those things. Don't shy away from basically doing exactly what they are currently doing. And you will be elected, along with help, obviously, from the Russians, and help with everything they've been doing once they gutted the Voting Rights Act, took out Section 5. You know what Section 5 was? The Voting Rights Act basically allowed African Americans to vote. But Section 5 allowed people who, in particular states, if they were closing polls or if they did anything that looked a little suspect, there was laws and that would stop all of that. If you notice that when they gutted Section 5, it wasn't within a couple of days. Every single southern state started closing polls, started getting rid of polling places. They started making sure that every citizen who had representation in any particular state, they started taking people off the voting rolls. They started doing every possible thing that they could do, because the only way that they could win, and I'm talking about the Republican Party, because they don't have the numbers, is by cheating. That's it. The Electoral College needs to be gutted. It makes no sense, especially in this environment. I honestly and truthfully believe that Donald Trump was a person that they said, you know something, this guy is an idiot, and he will say and do whatever it is that we ask him to do. Just put him up there, let him say and do all of those things, and then when we are finished with him, we'll get rid of him. But for now, we think that we could win by putting him up there to say the things that we don't want to say. And that's truly what I believe he was. He was just somebody that they just put up front to say and do all of the things that they've been wanting to say all along. And then by winning that, they could pay attention to the Electoral College in certain states, that they could somehow fix the polls by closing polls, taking people off voting rolls, things of that nature. They basically said, you know something, the only way we could do this is by cheating. And I'm telling you, if you do not recognize what is happening right now, and you think that things are bad now, I'm telling you, if you don't get out there and vote, it is going to be bad. It's going to be bad for people who look like us.
Absolutely.
Really bad.
I totally
and you know
agree
something who is also going to be bad for? We have more in common with poor whites than they realize. Why they are a part of the Republican Party, which only favors the rich, makes absolutely, unequivocally no sense. They're going against their own issues. It just makes no sense. They should, if you look at their situations and what have you, they should be more in line with our views and be part of the Democratic Party. Now, granted, I'm not saying the Democratic Party is offering the best stuff out there. They're not, okay? But they have the best policies. The way they may implement them, we have to work on. But that's the only way you could do it. You know, this whole, I'm not a Democrat, I'm not a Republican, I'm an independent. You know something? My feeling is pick a side, take that side, and work with it.
And rock with it. Rock with it. Exactly.
Make
I
it
want to
better.
shout out Hold on, Ken. I just want to shout out everybody. This is Real Talk Chronicles. I'm your host, Bill Forster, with my special co-host and the original Real Talker, Alyson Williams, with me. And I got Ken Smaltz in the building, my brother, that is out here on a conscious tip, doing what he is supposed to do, because a lot of us are not doing it. And, you know, we are out here advocating for you to vote. Get out there and vote and do something positive. Listen, be a voice. You know, you sit back. I don't agree with anybody out here right now telling me that they do not want to vote or they don't like who their candidates are. Listen, we will hold them accountable, and we will when they get in office. But right now, if I do not think the man that's in office right now has any presidential skills, he has made this a shit show. I am disgusted personally. I am tired of what I see. Like I said, it's not even about Republican or Democrat. It is just about holding a code of ethics for the office
For the
and
office.
for the office and be politically correct. Let me tell you something. He is the worst. I ask listen, I ask all my Republican friends, there's a difference. I feel there's a difference between being a Republican and being a Trump supporter. Some of you got it convoluted. Yeah, you got it messed up. You really think that, okay, I'm still going to vote Trump. I'm still going to vote Republican because it's Trump, and I'm still going to vote Trump because I'm Republican. Listen. If you co-signing this, there's something wrong because I had a conversation with my boy. Uh, we were going back and forth on this political thing, and some people are just so Republican that they can't see the forest for the trees, and I don't get it. And this ain't about creepy Joe. This ain't about what Joe hasn't done for blacks in 47 years. This is not about Kamala Harris and what she did supposedly against the brothers and everybody now want the Hotep brothers and everybody want to be so woke. Listen, if you co-signing what's in office now, then there's something wrong with you. There ain't something wrong with anything that's in because
You
let me
know
tell you
that
something.
bill,
Go ahead.
that
Go
bill
ahead.
that bill that they were so concerned about that Biden signed and that Kamala Harris signed, so that the entire Congressional Black Caucus, they all signed that bill. Okay, in the 90s, there was a lot of crime. I'm not in politics and never want to be, but you have to understand what was going on at the time. I honestly and truthfully, I fault them for a lot of things, but I just don't fault them for that, even though everyone else does. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. Go ahead, Alyson. You're going to chime in.
I think that a lot of it comes from, and I'll take it from my standpoint. I am. I always try to look at what I have been given as a platform to stand on. My gift is my platform. So at the end of the day, I'm an artist, and you know how artists have been used can be used in the midst of the political climate. And I stand true to stand up to whatever I'm asked to come into service for. I've had specific personal conversations with people who told me, back in the day, and I'll just digress for a moment. Many times they would use the especially the African American artists to try to get the message forth to Capitol Hill or wherever it was it needed to go to, as to what was happening in the communities, the Black and brown communities, whatever that was at that time, way before we were even thought. My point is this: to hear someone that was a mentor to me, like a Nancy Wilson, sit down and say to me, a lot of times they thought we were going out after the show. Now, mind you, a lot of places they performed, they couldn't even walk through the front door.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. They couldn't drink champagne and be in the midst, but they could perform. And she would tell me, we would go back to my room, and at that point, she was speaking of her hotel room, and it would be a Sammy Davis, and it would be a Harry Belafonte, and it would be a James Baldwin, and they would be sitting down, they'd be strategizing as to how to get Dr. Martin Luther King's message across to do what they need to do. So I digress. Like I said, having heard that from someone's mouth, and then having looked at pictures that have come down through the archives and seen them all march together hand in hand, so on and so forth. Okay, so we get it. My point is this: I'm not a big political person. I don't claim to be.
Exactly.
But I'm not by myself. And so my thing is that when I think of being a Democrat and the democracy, does that match up? And when I think about Republican, and then I think about the Pledge of Allegiance that says, and to the republic for which it stands. What does it stand for? Somebody's got to be up. You know what I'm saying? We use the word Democrat and we use the word democracy. We use the word Republican.
Small d, big D.
We use the word republic. So I'm trying to figure out where does it all come together so that we as human beings, we of the people, can come together on an equal thing. That's the thing that always gets me, because at the end of the day, I know it's going to come down to a song for me. I get what my purpose is. I'm going to be called to give a clarion call to action to the positive, and everybody wants the positive. Everybody wants the positive. It's just a matter of how we get to it.
Absolutely. Alyson.
How I see it. So as one of those people who's kind of like, I'm not a rebel and I'm not a Black Panther and I'm not an Angela. That I don't have any of that. I know what my place is and how to stand up when I'm called to do what I need to do. But at the end of the day, I want to be woke and I want to be clear. And I want to know that everybody else is not just talking rhetoric, because there's a lot of stuff that we talk about, you know, and the pieces don't come together. Pieces don't come together.
Absolutely.
And I think about what you just said about being a Democrat, but then trying to say democracy. I think about, you know, I call to my Republican friends and say, let's figure out what is this when we say the Republic? What is it? What is it? Somebody give me the break it down.
Exactly. Alyson, I want to, and that's going to segue me to my next question for you and Ken. Right now, Alyson, and this might touch a very home, and you just kind of piggybacked on it really before I even said anything. A lot of artists and athletes have come out and spoken on their political views. I personally, I think it's phenomenal, because they are the voices that people that I have not reached can hear, like yourself and others who have come out and said, vote for this, you know, Ice Cube, a lot of people, Fat Joe. I mean, there are so many people in this music industry, Alyson. You know, we talked about Jeff Redd doing his thing. You know, so many people. Melba Moore just chimed in and said, you know, everybody get out there and vote. Shout out to Melba Moore. Shout out to everybody out there that's watching. This is Real Talk Chronicles. I'm your host, Bill Forster. Shout out to my lovely wife, Malika Forster. She's holding it down on the other side. Shout out to Ken Smaltz in the building. Shout out to Alyson Williams. This is Real Talk Chronicles. Like it, share it, because this is the only place you're going to have this kind of conversation. But my segue into my question to both of you, and Alyson, you can go first, or you can defer to Ken, and then you can finish it. What do you think about what the athletes and the industry, the music industry, is doing to speak out on voting, and also systemic racism and things of that magnitude? A voice. We're not about just shut up and dribble and things of that magnitude. We're not just like Kaepernick. We're not about, you know, you tell us, you know, and this is to all the people out there that believe this is right. I'm going to say this. Stop telling people of color, brown people, how to protest. When you've made Martin, you loved Martin after he was killed. You loved Malcolm after he was killed. Listen, you denounced Kaepernick, right? Everything Kaepernick said came to light. George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, you name it. It all is. And we can talk about Breonna Taylor from a law enforcement standpoint, because that's what I do. And we can kick it from that. We can talk about Eric Gardner. We can talk about any of that. I can tell you from the police standpoint, and I can tell you from the ethical standpoint from my person of color.
They need to get rid of qualified immunity.
Yes, absolutely. So right now, I'm gonna ask you this question first. Ken, you know, whoever wants to go first, let me know whichever one you would go first. I'll start with you, Ken, and then Alyson, because I want you to finish, because that is your industry, you know, the music and stuff like that. You hobnob with these pennies. But Ken, give me your whole perspective of everything about the athletes, you know, all that ties into it. Please, brother, go ahead, right ahead.
I love it. I love it. You know, like I was telling you, I was out here with my initiative for years, and I was trying to do it on my own. I went to, you know, HBCUs, and I spoke at different schools. I went and held registration rallies every election season. I created a PSA to get or encourage African Americans to vote, and no one noticed. No one noticed. And then this year, I team up with Fox Soul. And I'll just tell you, just the other day, Michael Jackson's nephew wore one of my shirts. He has, I think his name is TJ. I never even knew who he was. But TJ has like 8 or 9 different fan pages. And all of those fans came and liked Black Folk Must Vote. And they started talking about TJ and TJ and his voting interest. And then just the last person to co-sign Black Folk Must Vote was Eva Marcel. She's a young lady on Real Housewives of Atlanta. Okay. And once again, all this stuff is new to me. But when Eva came out, did a video wearing this shirt with her husband, Mike, I think his name is, I watched my, what do you call it? My cell phone. It bings whenever I get a follow. It was binging off the hook. I went in about a few hours from, I think at the time I had 13. I just joined Instagram. I had 1,295 followers. It went to 1,550 within a matter of a few hours because of Eva. And then on the site, people were buying shirts like crazy. It was bing, 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 bing. The point I'm trying to make is these people have followers who listen to what they say and what they do. And if they decide that they want to, talk about something that's important, people will listen to them. Not taking anything away from LeBron, okay? But in 2018, I went to an event in downtown Manhattan given by, what is the name of it? Harlem Fashion Row. Brandis Henderson, does that name ring a bell to you?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Okay. She gave an event and she honored LeBron James. Okay, I went and sat at a table, wasn't too far from LeBron, and this was 2018. I brought my bag with, Black Folk Must Vote. I had some sweatshirts in there. I had hats, the whole 9 yards. I had a story, a whole message for LeBron. And when the thing was about to end, LeBron's table, before everyone was about to leave, his table got up and started walking out. I was planning on trying to hit him up, at the end of the event, but they started leaving before the event started to end. So as they were leaving, the table starts going out. LeBron was first, and he had like 6 or 7 guys with him. And just as I made it over to that table, the last guy was there, and I just pulled him aside. I said, "Hey, guy, listen, could you do me a favor? Could you get this package to LeBron?" I didn't know what he was going to do. I mean, he could have just thrown it away. Because that happens. That happens. I said, "Listen, this is a voting rights initiative that I started, blah, blah, blah." I tried to give him a short, pitch. And he said, yeah, I'll make sure he gets it. So the thing ended. I'm walking out. I'm going around the corner to get my car. My car was just so happened to be on the same street as the black town cars, not the town cars, but the SUVs.
Mm-hmm.
And LeBron was sitting in his seat, and the 2 guys that I gave my package to were walking towards me. They came out the back way, walking towards me without the bag. So my thinking is he did give it to LeBron. My point is that however LeBron decided that he wanted to do a voting rights initiative, I don't care. His voice matters. People follow him. My man opened up an entire
school.
Besides the school, I'm talking about the different stadiums that he opened up so that people can vote.
LA Coliseum. Yes, he opened it up. Yeah, for voting. Yep.
They don't need to shut up and dribble. I'm not telling them that they need to speak up, but I think if you got that kind of power, man, use it for good. And that's the reason why I like LeBron. I'm a Knicks fan, okay? But I'm a very disgruntled Knicks fan. Get rid of Dolan. But I'm a LeBron's fan because I just honestly feel that if I had that voice, if I had that money, if I had that much money and that much power, I would do something good with it. Do you know what I'm saying? And that's what he does.
Absolutely, man.
That's what
Well,
he does.
Ken, the beautiful thing about is I've always said this, and then I'll segue into you, Allie. The one thing I said, Ken, is about LeBron is different than Michael and a lot of others, that his greatness will come when he retires, because then he can be very outspoken and do more, because right now he has the camera, but he will always gravitate, and the camera will always gravitate to LeBron. Shout out to him that, that he speaks out, and I met him once, and he was friendly. I wish I met him as I have gotten more into this activist, outspoken platform that I'm on now, because I would definitely ask him to do something and put me in a position to help him speak out. But the bottom line says, Allie, I'm gonna come to you. And Allie, I don't know if you see what Todd wrote. You got your glasses on.
Looking at that. I was just
So
looking at Todd Hunter.
You can shout out to my childhood friend Todd, and I grew up together around the corner. We hung out when we.
Okay, let's stop right here for 2 seconds. I had no connection between you and Todd until just now.
Really?
No idea you and Todd Hunter knew each other, and we have a whole nother connection through the arts. And so this is really incredible to me, because I didn't know that you all knew each other from a can of beans.
Like I always tell anybody, when you know somebody, shout out to Todd Hunter in the building, phenomenal dancer. Todd's been dancing since we've been kids. And I always tell, how long you know somebody. Todd and I have known each other since we were virgins. So that's when you
It might have been that at some time I did know that there was a connection, but at 59 years old, I forget a lot. Right?
Yeah, that's all right. Because I'm right behind you.
So, you know Todd, Bill, you know Todd, you know Bill. 5, 6, 7, 8. I don't know. Anyway.
My man Todd Hunter, and we go back. And let me tell you something. Todd is a phenomenal artist.
Oh my God.
He's been dancing when we were kids. Let me tell you something. I'd be like, Todd, catch the football. He started busting a move. I'd be like, no, that's not what the hell you're supposed to do. Catch a damn football. So shout out to Todd Hunter, and his brother Kevin is an awesome artist himself. You know what I'm saying? So Allie, segue into this. Let us know about read what Todd wrote, and then segue into your thought on what the artist said.
Okay, let me go back to Todd. There will always who are so dug into their political beliefs solely based on how they want to maintain not only status quo, but systems of oppression and the potential benefits they may / or do receive. What I am actually interested in is the voices from those who have brown skin but live for the white agenda advancements. There sadly are a lot of videos when you can see this. Historically, we know there has always been those Black and brown people who will willingly sell their own in order to be, quote unquote, in the dominant culture. So now we're speaking into people who look at, what is going on and what the temperature is right now. And instead of maybe, rallying for pro-Black, pro-brown, they want to go to a mid-stream or a gray area where they can kind of ride the fence. There's no riding the fence here because there's no fence to ride.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Get off the fence.
So I understand, and I understand that this is a frustration for Todd, is what he's saying. He has seen this over and over and over again. Like I said, me coming from being a person who am immersed in the arts and theater and entertainment, like you said, when Brother Cabernet took the knee, how ironic is it that a knee took the life of a George Floyd? People say, have we paid attention to what he was just trying to say? I'm not trying to say, I just want y'all to pay attention. I want y'all to have see what's going on. What we see on the news, it infuriates us. But what we see on the news is just what made the news. It doesn't mean that it hasn't been happening and continues to happen day after day, time after time, city after city. These atrocities happen. And what we see on the news is just what made the news.
Right.
So I digress, and I will say that in your question, Bill, how do I feel as an artist? Um, we all have to take the opportunity to use the platform we've been given. There are a lot of people who have been given some major platforms to say certain things. Some of us have used it to the best advantage, and some of us have not. Some of us have used it to the best advantage and have not been paid attention to. But that's going to happen. You know, people keep saying we need a voice. We need a voice. We had a voice. I quote Nate Lucas and saying they heard Harriet Tubman. Didn't they just ignored her? We have to now know that we've always had a voice. We just have to make it so that we're no longer ignored. And that will bring on hopefully the change that we hope for. But back to your question, how do I feel? I also feel that we can take a stand and we can try to reach out to affect change, but we've got to also realize how we respect and how we present ourselves, because everything we present is not respectful or respectable. Don't mean it ain't real. Don't mean it's not your story, but don't, you know what I'm saying? You have to do things. There is a protocol. And so that's how I feel sometimes when I look at some of the artists. And don't come back at me, y'all. I'm whom I am at this point in my life. I'm just saying, if you want to be respected and you want to be taken seriously, you got to come a certain way.
Absolutely. And then they come at you, send them to me.
Everybody's not going to give you the result that you want. And then you're just mad. You're just
exactly.
Angry.
Exactly.
And we already got anger. We've been angry for over 400 years. We got that.
And you know what? This is going to segue into my next statement and question. First, let me just shout out everybody that's watching. Aaron Gataway said, "What's up, Ken? Our brother Aaron's in the building." Shout out Gwen. Shout out everybody that's timing in. Hey, Rodell. You know, shout out Sammy. My martial arts. Joe Hammond. Todd. You know we love you. You know everybody. We appreciate. This is Real Talk Chronicles. If you like what you're hearing, this is YouTube Live. This is Facebook Live. Please like it and share it. I ask all of you. The hardest thing I've done in my life is promote positivity. I've thrown parties, 1,500 people at a clip. But the bottom line is the hardest thing to promote is positivity. And this is what I do to be an activist, a voice, a vessel for speaking up of justice for people of color that have been oppressed by law enforcement. Everybody knows I'm a prior law enforcement individual. And I am blue. I was blue, but I am black first. Let me just make sure everybody understands that. And a lot of times my former law enforcement people do not understand that, because I say a lot of them have sold their soul to the fraternity. And you know what's so funny? I rep my block. I rep my borough. I rep my city. I rep my college. I rep anything that I have been affiliated with, my high school, my grammar school, but it doesn't suit my ethnicity. And I don't understand why a lot of people of color have lost sight of that in within the police department. You know, what happened to the humanitarian, the blood that rolls through our vein, the red? Just be human, you know? So I say that to all that. Let me ask you two a question. There's so much going on with police brutality. There's so much going on with reform and defunding and things of that magnitude. I will go last on this because of me being law enforcement. But you know what's so funny, Ken? Do you have children?
I do not. No.
Okay, you don't have children. All right. And Allie, I know you have a godson.
I got Ryan.
You got Ryan. And
I got four godchildren.
Okay, so let's talk about that in the aspect of, God forbid, what are we telling them how to interact with law enforcement? Because I go around the country and I speak at colleges and universities right now via a Zoom and virtual technology on how to interact with law enforcement and what's my take on it. And I speak to adults and I speak to kids. And I've been blessed to be a part of law enforcement to give back to the way that I can. But I want to ask you, what's your take on the Mr. Aubreys, the Mr. Floyds, the Breonna Taylors, the Blakes? You know, I just want to get your personal feeling as a person of color. Just like it's crazy. Like, what are you telling your godchildren, or if you're speaking to them? What are you telling the little kid down the block? You know what I'm saying? Or your cousin's cousin or some shit. Like, Ken, go first, and then no, Alice, Allie, you can go first, or Ken, whoever wants to go first, and just chop it up, please.
I will say this, and I will be brief because my experience is limited. I have a handful of godchildren, and that handful is augmented by just children in my space of other friends who have children, and I realize I have a responsibility to be whatever it is a role model. So I take my responsibility seriously, and especially to those I have committed to as a godparent and so on and so forth. And I want to sit down and say, I remember when all of this was going on and we were in the midst of our riots and in the midst of COVID, in the midst of the civil unrest. And I felt so immediately obligated to call Ryan and say, how are you? How are you feeling? What's going on with you day to day? When you get in your car and go to whatever job it is that you have, I want you to be mindful. And I hadn't thought that in all of the 29, 30 years that he's been my godchild. I hadn't felt that obligated to have that conversation with him as a young Black man. But I was glad that I was able to rise to the occasion. I hope he understood and understands what it is that I was trying to get to him, and what it is that I continue to try to, to give to him, because I want him to be safe. I want him to come home every night, because the reality of the world that we live in is that he could go out and that not be the case. So that's my take on it. Like I said, I don't have any biological children, but I have children that I have raised because it takes a village to raise them, and I have stepped up to the obligation and tried to be what I could be. But I can remember a clear feeling of, oh my God, that made me have to reach out to Ryan to say, baby, how you doing? Baby, what you thinking? Baby, how do you feel? How does this make you feel? This is your world. I might not be here another day or another 30 days or another 12 months to go through this with you. But, perfect world of the magic wand, this is your world. So I want to know how you're going to fare through it. And anything that I can impart to you, I want to do. Being blessed enough to be, having been mentored by our beloved Dr. Maya Angelou, she would always say, it takes great courage, and we have to take the courage to go against what we see as the norm and do something different. Goes back to what you said, Bill, about, how do we gain the respect? How do we as artists take our platform? How do we say what we need to say? And sometimes it might be a little difficult because, it's all being said one way, or every, the status quo, or the way that we see as being the prominent way, or the way that is I'm struggling for words, the way that we see to be popular. It doesn't matter about being popular. It's about being having the courage to go forward. So to answer your question, and maybe quite long-winded, I have felt an obligation to reach out to those who I am related to by whatever virtue it is, whether it's a godson or a nephew or a niece or whatever the case may be. I have felt the need to reach out to make sure that they understand that there are people who have come before them and understand that we are leaving this to you. But we want you to be safe within it. We want you to be knowledgeable within it. We want you to be woke within it. And also that one of the things that you can stand upon is the opportunity to not just follow. Don't follow. Don't follow.
Awesome. I appreciate you. Just, Ken, I'm going to come to you, but I'm just going to read something. But I just want to say, everybody, I'm Bill Foster. This is Real Talk Chronicles. As you can see, these two individuals right here that I respect and love admirably have things and they're passionate about what they're doing in this world, in this community. Because the bottom line is, they try to divide and conquer positivity. You know what I'm saying? They try to divide and conquer what we are trying to bring to the forefront of knowledge, which is something that a lot of people don't want to embrace. Just being astute on what it is out there in the world. I tell people all the time when I go out and I speak to the kids at schools, and I ask them all the time, and I'll ask them about, do you know who Eric Garner is, or do you know who Emmett Till is, or do you know who Amadou Diallo is, or Sean Bell, or any of these people that have lost their lives? And I ask them, and they say no, and it hurts me, the fact that with all this modern technology that Ken and Alyson and I grew up with, that we weren't privy to. We had to go to the library. We had to go look in the encyclopedia. Like the biggest library in New York City was 142nd Street, and that was like, Mom, can I go? Because I got to do a project or something like that. You know what I'm saying? We had to ask for money to get on the train or the bus. And you guys right now have it all afforded to you exactly at your thumb. And you don't know who these people are. But if I ask you about LeBron's stats or AD stats or Jimmy Butler stats or Aaron Judge's stats, you can tell me that in a heartbeat. So I employ all of you, the youth out there, and people who are listening, tell your children, learn your history and learn your law, because that will take you a long place in life. And then you can be able to converse and have conversations with anybody. Once you know your history and your law, you can be unstoppable. So this is Real Talk Chronicles. I ask everybody out there, if you like it, share it, share some love. Ken, give me some insight on what we're talking about, please.
I was listening to everything that you guys were saying. As I said, I don't have any kids, but there was something that I thought about many years ago. Me and my dad were never really close, and he was always there. He was a hard worker. Worked 22 years in the fire department. He was a Marine Corps for 4 years. Then retired from the fire department after 22 years, and then worked another 20 years in the post office. The point I'm making is although we were not close, it's interesting the things that you pick up when you don't realize it. I was with my mother most of the time, going back and forth to school, always had to travel with her, like in clothing stores and what have you. It was so annoying sitting there as she's buying dresses and what have you. That was unbelievably annoying. But I said to myself, I could throw a football really, really well. I mean, seriously, I could throw it long, I could throw it far, and I could hit you. And you know who taught me how to throw that football? Didn't teach me a lot. My dad. I could also sing. Not taking anything away from you, but my dad was a really good singer. And not saying that I'm going to sing and everything. I'm just making a point. My dad was a great singer. Had a voice just like Nat King Cole. And would sing around the house all the time, all of these different songs. I know those songs now, and I sing just like him. One thing I remember him telling me was, because I in the beginning stages, it looked as if I was going to have an academic road. I got into Brooklyn Tech and what have you, but I didn't finish Brooklyn Tech, and the family was a little disappointed with me, and in the fact that I didn't want to go to college and whatever. But I turned out okay. Things worked out, and one of the things I always remember him telling me was, respect my name. Do not do, because I'm a junior, he's a senior. Do not do anything that will disgrace the Smaltz name. And that has always stuck with me. I am always very conscious of what I say and what I do, the things that I decide to do for a living, the things that I decide to wear, the places I decide to go, because I'm concerned about how people will feel about what I'm doing or what I'm saying, what I'm wearing, what have you. The point I'm making is that kids are listening. They're listening. They hear you. You may not think they hear you, but they do, even when they're not around them a lot. I was not around my dad all the time. I was around my mom most of the time. But there are certain things that he instilled in me that I got. I picked it up. You know what I mean? So I'm saying that you got to talk to kids. Don't think that they're not listening, because they are. You know, and if they don't feel if you don't feel that they're listening, then you have to guide them by your actions. In other words, you have to act the way that you want them to act. They look at you and they model themselves after the things that they see you doing. You know, so if you do stupid around them, another thing that I would tell you not to do, don't call them stupid. Don't call them lazy. Don't call them bums. Do not talk to them out of anger, because they keep that inside them. My dad,
And they
taking anything away from them, and they become that. My dad, all the time, because I was messing up in school. Every single day, Bill, you're a loser. You're not going to amount to anything. Every single day. I fight those feelings and have managed to do well despite those feelings. But Alyson, those feelings are here, and they stay with you. I'm constantly measuring myself to see, what am I doing? Am I doing this right? And I'll end my soliloquy by saying that I spoke at a school, I think it was back in 2012. It was Temple University. And I was talking with the Black Student Union, and I took a bunch of pictures with the kids. And I think it was around 2000. No, I spoke to them in 2007. It was 2012. So 2007, I spoke to Temple University, Black Student Union. And in 2012, I got a call. The young lady looked me up online and looked up Black Folk Must Vote. Her name was, oh God, I'm going to forget her name. I forgot her name. I apologize.
That's all right.
She called me and she says, you probably don't remember, Nina Bell. Okay. You probably don't remember me, but my name is Nina. And you came to my school several years ago and you spoke about the importance of voting and what have you. And right now I am a director of a program in Queens, New York called Safe Space. And they work with inner city kids, but kids with problems, LGBT kids who have been thrown out of their homes, things of that nature. Could you come and speak to my students about the importance of voting? They listen. You may not think they're hearing, but they listen. That's the point I want to make.
Well, it's a beautiful point, and I appreciate you for breaking it down. I see Sharon Saunders has something to say. She says, Black people have historically been a target by law enforcement in America. It seems like men and women in the blue are more obligated to protect the blue wall of silence than protecting the community they took the oath to serve. What should a police officer do if they see any injustice or something they feel is racist toward? Sharon was supposed to be in. I appreciate you, Sharon, for chiming in. I'm sure that you have a valid, good reason for not being here. I'm gonna hold you to that, my sister friend. Well, first to answer your question, yes, Black people have historically been a target to law enforcement. If you look at what law enforcement was in a time before ours, they were slave catchers. With that being said, the blue wall of silence is something more than the blue wall of silence is so wide, because right now, if you look at when some officer does something and police all over the world know that it was wrong, they will not come out and verbally say it was wrong. They will say it amongst themselves. So that's when that's a part of the blue wall of silence, when they won't even just come out and verbally say, yeah, he messed up. You know what I'm saying? Because if acknowledgement of something kind of pacifies the whole energy. You know what I'm saying? It's just like in any relationship. And Alyson and I, we talked about this from 2008. If somebody says, I'm sorry, if you're upset in a relationship and you start arguing with somebody and says, well, I'm sorry, if that is supposed to de-escalate the emotion. But if you don't say sorry and you want to go back and talk about, well, what you did in 2007, you looked at my friend Jimmy or whatever, and and now it's tit for tat, then it keeps the fire burning. So
can I ask you a question though? Can I ask you a question? I mean, because I
absolutely.
try to look at it from both sides. This blue wall of silence. If one of your partners or one of the police officers shoots an unarmed black man,
Right,
and
right.
one of the black police officers or anyone says anything about that person, isn't that police officer in fear of retribution?
Well, I'm gonna go on the scenario you just gave me. Somebody shoots an unarmed individual, right? First, if you go against that person,
Right.
most likely you will get some kind of retribution.
Yeah.
Because the bottom line is the mentality of law enforcement is I didn't do it personally. I was acting within my geographical area of employment. This is my job. So when I came to work, I didn't come to work to hurt anybody. So don't hold me accountable for hurting you because I didn't come here to hurt you. Now I may have effed up, but they don't come out and say I effed up. You see
But
what I'm saying?
I'm talking about when they try to cover it up.
That is the point right there. And I will put it into perspective, Bill. I will say this: we came up together. We all came up together. We visited one another. We ate dinner together. We went to the club together. We hung out together. Sometimes you had to leave us because you had to go to work. You worked for the NYPD.
Yes.
As a law enforcement agent, there were certain things that you had to comply to that you didn't always. It wasn't how you woke up that morning or what you meant to do. Do you understand what I'm saying? So I saw that from a very real state of a very real place. The decisions that you had to make. Do you understand? Being a young man, being on the job and doing what you had to do. But the thing is that when we come to a place of what it is that we are called to do by the quote unquote agency that we work for, how does that then? I think people want to know how do you come to terms with it? How do you people say, are you blue or you're black or you're this or you're that? You didn't come to work asking for that, Bill. That's not what you did. And I can say that because I saw it, we were just people living our lives.
Yeah. Alyson, I have a friend of mine that always says this, and this is who I am. And I know this for a lot of people of color that I've worked with, that I did the job wasn't personal to me. I was an independent thinker. So I say all that to say that if I knew I was hanging with Alyson and Ken later on that night, I would tell them like, yo, I ain't trying to get a lot of overtime tonight because I got something to do. But I was somebody before NYPD. I think what happens is a lot of people get lost in this blue thing. And it's a psychological trance. It's like entering the twilight zone. They get so caught up into I am blue now. I'm supposed to think like blue now. I am blue now.
When I came out of school, and I don't remember when it was, but I went to parochial school my entire life, from first grade to eighth grade, from eighth grade through high school, and from high school through college. How it happened, we don't know. But they kept hanging out with me. I remember the first time I saw a nun at a restaurant, and I couldn't believe that nuns had dinner. You know what I mean?
Right.
It didn't
Like we thought they was eating holy wafers all day, right?
They didn't do anything outside of the convent over there on 125th Street.
I went to Catholic school too.
Okay, you get it. So
All three of us did.
And I also remember the first time I saw one of my lay teachers out. I was coming into McHale's. He was going out, and I was like, "What are you doing at McHale's? What are you don't think that people who teach you have another thing." So I use that as a conduit, or not a conduit, but as a mindset as to what it is that you must have gone through being a young person, a young man, making his career in the law enforcement, and you had another life.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then I bring it all the way full circle to now to say, who were the other two people that were there when the shots rang out at Breonna Taylor's? Who were the other two officers that were present when the man sat with his knee on George Floyd's neck? How do you figure? I didn't come to work to do it. This is not what I didn't know.
Yeah.
How do I figure out what to do? How to do? Do I do? How to blah. Did I do?
I heard a story about I heard a story about one of the guys who was, I think he was a black guy, fair skin, beard.
Yes, with the beard. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I heard a story about him, and that, he didn't know what to. This is not what he wanted to do. He did not want whatever that guy, whatever the guy.
Anybody woke up that morning or any of those 2 mornings thinking this is how I wanted to end.
Well, the guy who put the knee on the neck, that's what he wanted.
Whatever there were other people involved, and now we got to think about what was your mindset and what could you have done to de-escalate that situation, and why didn't you? So I'm just saying there's a whole nother level, and I've experienced that level because I've had people in my quote unquote extended friends and family situation that dealt with that. You, Bill, being that person or one of those people for me.
But Bill, that's what I was trying to say before. The police department, they need to abolish qualified immunity. People in every walk of life are responsible for their actions, and police officers need to be responsible for their actions. I understand. Listen, I've never been in war, and I've never been a police officer, so I'm merely speaking. This is just my own interpretation. Okay.
Absolutely. Go ahead.
But I understand the mindset of someone who is in war, whatever war they may be in, and people in the armed services and people in the police department. When you are working alongside of one another and you're going out there, you have to watch each other's back. There has to be a certain amount of protocol and rules and regulations that you have got to follow. You almost have to follow with blinders on. You have got to listen to what is going on in the present situation. I get all of that. But everyone has to be responsible for mistakes, because everybody makes mistakes. And this thing that they have within the police department, where if you kill someone and your reasoning is, well, you know what I'm saying? I'm a police officer. That's what we do. And no matter what the circumstance, we should get away with it.
Okay, so here's my thing.
That just does not.
I wasn't there. I'm sorry I don't mean to cut you off. I'm so sorry, Kim.
Right.
My thought process is this. I am an officer, and there's another officer. And there's that officer who's got his knee on George Floyd's neck. And I don't know what happened before. I don't know what happened after. I don't know what happened. All I know is that at some point in time, where do I find, in listening, like you said, I'm sworn to a certain decorum. I'm sworn to a certain thing that tells me I have to listen to what I'm told. When do I say, hey, this is not good. We
feel the same way about the people in our elected officials with Trump. When are they going to tell him to go?
When do you feel that? And Bill, you're the only one in the room that can attest to this feeling. You're the only one. Not in my singing self, not Kim and his voting activism. You're the only one who carried a badge.
Well, let me give y'all some. Let me give you some
And
insight. Let me give you some insight into this.
You're the only one who carried a badge and a firearm was sworn into whatever they swear you in when they swear you into the who or the ha, boo boo ba. You're the only one who can do that. I want you to please explain it because you're the only one who can come from that perspective.
Well. You know, it's so funny. You're totally right, and I think when we there's so many different perspectives from this to go out here and feel that some feel that you're doing God's work, right? I didn't have that ideology when I felt that I was out there to protect and serve. Like I never took pride in. I'm going to get to your answer. I never took pride in calling myself a cop. I took pride in myself in calling myself a police officer. It's just like you can't call me an N word. You can call me a black man. You know what I'm saying? So I say all that to say that when I worked, my duty was that oath that I took.
Protect and serve.
Yeah, exactly. Protect and serve. Now there are some people that get into that whole, you know, dirty Harry mentality. I'm a cop. I come home and have a hot beer and a cold sandwich. You know what I'm saying? Like that's not me. That wasn't me. And there are some people that have that ideology. I've seen a lot of people come out here and talk about I put my life on the line. First and foremost, and I know they haven't worked in the street in almost damn 15 years, but I get that, you know, because we work to get a better position in life. We all do. You work for the positive gig. You work for the support and the sponsorship hypothetically. But going into the answer of your question is that when you're out there, you have split second decisions to make, right? So I'll say that in lieu of law enforcement, you have split second decisions to make. Alyson is equivalent to you've rehearsed and you're singing a song and either you miss the lyrics or one of the band members missed the beat or the cue for the next song.
Got it.
You don't go out and shout out and say, "Oh, what are you doing, Jimmy? What the hell is wrong with you?" You ad lib. You do something to play it off, right? With that being said, when an officer makes a mistake, at that time, you may in your mind say, "Oh shit, he made a mistake." You're not going to denounce him and blast him in front of everybody, right? When you go back to the precinct, you're going to be like, "Yo, what did you just do, dog? Like, what happened?" So now what happens is a lot of officers get caught in this, okay, he effed up. Say Ken is my partner. Ken messed up. Am I going to go out here right now and say Ken messed up? 9 out of 10 officers are not going to do that. What they're going to do, because they feel Ken honestly didn't do it to maliciously. See, this is the key words. He maliciously didn't go out there to kill that person. So what they're going to say is that, oh, the person did something. He made an assertive movement. He did something to cause Ken to react to that, and that's why Ken shot him. Now, when the smoke is all cleared, am I working with Ken? No, I'm not going to work with Ken again because Ken did something that I can't phantomly comprehend and accept. And the bottom line is, department may know that Ken really effed up, but the bottom line is they're going to protect Ken because Ken didn't maliciously do that. And see, these are the key words that we're playing with: maliciously, intent, Ken accidentally, and because the department gives you wiggle room, unbeknown to the society out there in the world that says, "Yo, we need justification. We need accountability," and the world says to you, Ken and Alyson, "I want accountability," but the department is like, "I'm gonna protect you." So you know what? I know you didn't do it intentionally, so I'm not going to send you out there. I'm not going to hang you out there to dry. And that's where we're lost at. There are people out here that, of course, go ahead, please.
I just want to say, they constantly talk about teaching police departments de-escalation. They're really they police departments are really able to de-escalate when it comes to a white defendant or a white criminal. Why can't they de-escalate when it comes to black? Why is it that I see them constantly all the time going through all types of machinations when there's a guy running after a police officer around his car, and they're just like de-escalating. But when it comes to a black person who has no gun, running away, and they shoot that person in the back, I'm sorry. I'm not a police officer. I'll say it again.
No, Ken,
and I've never been in that situation.
Let me answer your question.
Yeah, go ahead.
And I know exactly where you're going. There isn't any equality. I give you a perfect example. If I pull you over, just like Phil J is another a brother, a friend of ours in law enforcement. If we pull you over, when I pull you over, or if I stop you on the street corner, I see my brother, I see my cousin, I can see my sister's husband. I see equality. There isn't any equality when a white officer, some white officers, and let me be fair to shout out to the white officers that are listening. No disrespect to you, but you know what the hell I'm talking about. So if you don't understand it and you don't acknowledge it, then that's shame on you, and it is what it is. But some white officers have never seen a Ken Smaltz. You understand what I'm saying? They have never seen a Bill Foster. So what I'm saying is they see the dude on the basketball court or they see the dude in the rap videos. So or they see the guy that subservient, the man of color that's pumping gas, that's working at 7-Eleven. There isn't any equality. So what they've been taught from systemic racism, generational teachings that you are just black. I come to your communities to police you because you're animals and you're a savage. So I'm going to have to put you in control. I'm going to have to control you. So when I come to you, it's like a dog. How many people see a dog as equal? Some people see him as a family pet. Some people see him as a family member. But the bottom line is that dog is not equality. It's not equality.
But that's not good, man. That's not good. That needs to change.
Because you asked me for the answer. You didn't ask me for the not good.
yeah. That needs to change. I mean, listen, in Appalachia, there ain't no black people. So what are they doing over there? Because I have a lot of friends. A lot of my friends who have been in law enforcement are friends of yours. I know you know a lot of. I have a lot of friends who are in law enforcement, and I understand if you work in a predominantly black neighborhood, an underserved community, and there may be in those communities a lot of crime, and that crime is committed by mostly blacks. You become desensitized, and then you start, whatever. They're all the same. But what happens? This whole black on black. In white neighborhoods where there are no black people, there's white crime and there's white criminals and there's criminals doing the exact same things they're doing in black neighborhoods, but those white people are not being killed by white officers.
Well, you know what? But to see, that's what it goes back to me, because like I tell anybody, if there's 90% black on black crime, there's 85% white on white crime. That's why when people, so it's just like when we saw the presidential debates. I may know this because I get some statistics and things like that. When they was talking about when the president had threw out this thing in the air, all the lawlessness is happening in Democratic states, and Chris Wallace says no, that's not true. Lawlessness is happening in red states too. So what's the problem? So the bottom line is, but see, the thing is, we're talking about equality. We're talking about the visual. When a white person sees another white person, and we see it from all the videos and the YouTubes and the cams, the video cams. What do they say? They be like, "Listen, I'm going to tase you. Stop, Jimmy. Don't make me tase you. Come on now." We're not afforded that same accountability or longitude or latitude, and that's what I'm trying to say. It's because we're people of color. There isn't any equality. And that's the problem. I tell people all the time when I go to schools and speak to kids and whatever, I say, yo, you tired of what's happening? Take the police officer test. It is the best job. It pays me to sit home on my behind right now. And I can do this and come out and teach you and speak to people. But If you're going to sit back, that's probably police officers are probably the one jobs that nobody's saying take it. They'll tell you to do anything. They'll have a non-singer or a non-rapper try to be a singer. You know what I'm saying? But they won't tell them
Don't
to take
take
the
the
civil
police
services
test.
yet. They won't tell them to do that. I don't get it. And then there's somebody that say, "Oh, I don't want to be a police officer because they racist." But wait a minute. How do you change the culture if you don't want to be a part of the system? How do Ken, Alyson, and myself tell somebody to go vote if we're not going to go vote? You understand what I'm saying? So
Yeah, but you know, being a police officer and voting, you know, one.
I'm just using that example,
Okay,
Ken.
no, but I understand. I understand what you're saying, but I don't think everyone should be a police officer. I
Oh,
don't
I
think.
didn't say.
No, I
I didn't.
believe that.
Oh
The
no, I
police
didn't say
officers
everybody should be a police
are
officer.
just human beings. Police
Because let me tell you,
officers are just
think about this.
human beings.
No, but I
Alyson,
think.
Women.
Alyson, hold on. Alyson is an accomplished singer, right? Has sung all over this world. I'll sing her song verbatim, but I dare not go in front of no audience and sing that damn song. You
Right,
understand
right.
what I'm saying? So,
But that's what I'm saying. I don't think everyone should be a police. I don't think everyone is equipped to
but
do
but
that.
but that, but Ken, this is my point. So we have to find out how do we separate the real for the unreal, because let me tell you something. Not everyone is built to go into that building by himself. Not
Right.
everyone is built to deal with the Ken or the Alyson. Because let me tell you something. I've seen, and then when I say I've seen, I'm saying I've seen visually, not as I'm working. I'm talking about I've seen from videotape because I wouldn't have not have allowed it to happen in front of me. But I've seen the punk officer go to pull over a Ken and stop at Alyson and ask you questions, and you talk back. And when I say talk back, you have the right to ask a question and then all of a sudden say, "Yo, shut up, be quiet. Who are you talking to?" Wait a minute. I'm a grown ass person. And then the bottom line is I'm older than you. And I got a little 21-year-old kid, a little punk, working from Long Island or Suffolk County that's never been in Harlem. And he's mad at me because I'm waiting for my mother or my sister or my cousin to come out the store. He doesn't understand. This is what we do. We double park and we wait for somebody. And you never gave me a warning. And now all of a sudden you want to come up and say, "I told you to move the car." Move the car. Wait a minute. Who are you talking to? You understand what I'm saying? And then because I'm a man or a woman and I speak up for my rights, you tell me to shut up or be quiet. And now you want to bombard me with a bunch of tickets. And let me tell you something. That has happened. Anybody that's in NYPD knows this has happened. But the thing is, see, when I was in Harlem, if I pulled up and I said, "Yo, Ken," and I mean, not knowing, unbeknown to you, and I'm saying like, "Listen, you got to move your car," and you said, "Okay, officer, I'm gonna move my car," and I went around the corner, and you came back, and you were still there. Now, I gave you the chance. So that was shame on you. But I'm gonna write you the ticket. But see, I'm gonna hit you with the ticket with the point of
Right.
you're gonna be like, "Oh, officer, you messed up. Da, 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 you full of da da da." I'm gonna say, "No, money, you can stay here now, but I'm gonna give you this ticket because I asked you, and I'm telling you, I asked you. Now, don't escalate it to a point where I got to put my hands on you or I got to arrest you because the bottom line is shame on you. You understand what I'm saying?
But
But a
Bill,
lot of
but Bill,
uh-huh.
within the training that is given to the officers, when do they know that they can feel like you said? I understand you're in a situation you're like, oh damn, I know this shouldn't have gone down, but I'm a rookie, I'm brand new, I'm whoever I am. Where is it that we are given the opportunity to say, hey, this can't go down like this?
well,
That's what we're
you know
all
what's so
trying to
funny?
look at. I
They,
get what you're saying. You know
uh-huh.
what I'm saying? Everybody is not trained, and even if you can train them every day till Sunday. They might not know the hood. They might not know the people of the community. So therefore they won't deal. I've been in situations where I've been pulled over with a senior statesman, quote unquote, officer with a younger statesman, and he felt he this older dude thought he was showing this boy the ropes. And they pulled me over for absolutely no reason at all. And when I tell you, it turned bad for them at every step of the road.
Absolutely.
It just spiraled down into the most ridiculous sludge of a waste of a taxpayer's
Of time. Exactly. Exactly.
but
Because
so where does that how do we get to that place?
Well. The one thing that I think is important that I always say, deal with the inner city, like invest in the inner city. Like I, I was an inner city kid when when I became a police officer. I was innocent. I was a man, but like I said, I was somebody besides that. Like I was already hanging out and I already had an identity. I already worked for the mayor's office. I already drove the bus. I was a bus operator. So when I came to PD, I was already invested in life. Like I was somebody before. There are a lot of individuals that have just come in and they're blinded to what they hear, a la the military. But then the bottom line is, how do we stay woke? Is the word that we use today. A lot of people are not trying to be awakened. There are a lot of people that just want to be accepted. Like Alyson, there are people in the industry that sing and they call themselves an artist, but you know, when they come around artists, they feel they're artists, but you sing on stage, but that you ain't really an artist. You know what I'm saying? Like Ken, there are people.
There's a certain point in time when you realize that you have paid your dues and you have done what you need to do, and talent becomes ability. It's a difference.
Exactly.
Because a lot of people have talent. A lot of people don't have the ability. There's a lot of people who can sing that don't know how to sing.
Exactly.
There is a protocol to what that is. There's a foundation upon which that's built on. The same thing with what Kim has done to bring forth, the ability to understand how we fit into it.
Yeah.
A lot of people who can sing never had the guts to do what it takes to get out there and do it.
Right. Everybody didn't know to go.
I may be talking about myself.
And go to Howard. Everybody didn't know.
But Ken and Alyson, to your point, exactly. Let me tell you something. What led me to law enforcement, I realized that I was kind of built for it because it's some things that attracted me to it. But then, like I had a niche before I went into. I was nice with my hands. I was a martial artist before I went into NYPD. In fact, I feel like a lot of times with law enforcement, a lot of these guys should take 3 months of self-defense courses to have some hand-to-hand combat. But the one thing I will say, if you're a punk or a punkette, then that's in you. That is that.
But Bill, the bigger deal is this: it's not so much that you were, you found that you had a place to build a foundation on martial arts. You have to realize martial arts takes a deep-seated degree of commitment and
self-control,
and discipline. So if you had that already, then that meant that you had to have that before they would even say you're cut out to be a part of this.
Yes, absolutely.
What I'm saying?
Yes.
So it's a whole other thing. It wasn't that, I was nice with my hands, and so I decided to go and take the test. No, the fact that you had the discipline and the inner.
Maybe they should teach that.
Turning that into it made you the officer that you were. You went through your tour. You escalated. You survived, and now you are where you are, and you're giving back. And
Alyson and Ken, that is exactly the point. That's exactly the point. And Alyson, I'm gonna bring us back to a point that you and I was hanging out one time. But to your point, when I was on the set, and when I say set, I'm talking about scene or whatever the situation was. If I saw the thing was getting a little volatile or verbally disrespectful, I de-escalated where I told Money or the situation. I said, "Yo, dog, you don't want this." You understand what I'm saying? See, this is me putting up the flags.
But that's a conversation, and what we see is that there are no conversations being held.
This is what I'm trying to say, Alyson. I gave the conversation.
You did.
You understand what I'm saying? See. Like when you are not in a position to give the conversation because you're scared, like the Ola Blake situation, how does an officer let a man walk from one side of a car and go to the other side of the car? And when he gets there, he's following him with his gun. But when he gets there, now you shoot him? But then you hear people out here saying all the time, he should have complied. Well, we know he should have complied. But that doesn't mean you
See, it
couldn't have
doesn't
jumped
get
on him and
out.
you couldn't have jumped on him and bust his ass before he got to that car.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? Let me
So
tell you
many
something.
things could have happened before mutilation or death.
And that's my point. You know, Sonny, like there's certain situations that can be stopped. You don't. It's like a parent with a child or anybody. Anyone's been a child. We don't let a child, grandparent, godfather, god sister, godmother, whomever. We don't let a child go and put his hands on the flames of fire and then say, oh, after he gets burnt, say you should, why'd you do it? We stop him before he does it. You understand what I'm saying? Go ahead.
But Bill, so you've never answered. What do you think about qualified immunity? What do you think about it?
When you say qualified immunity, give me exactly what you mean.
Well,
Qualified
well,
immunity.
qualified immunity is because of what it is that police officers do. They're protecting the public. They are given a certain amount of latitude when it
Yes.
comes to, killing people, and that
Are we
latitude.
talking about killing people, or are we just talking about anything? Because help me out when you say because when we say killing people, we know that when a law enforcement officer kills somebody, he has 48 hours, and I'm telling you facts. He has 48 hours before he speaks on what he actually did, because now he speaks to his delegates and the brass and the people of the hand. So go ahead. I'll follow with you now.
Well,
Go
I
ahead.
was going to look at the definition of qualified immunity, but I think qualified immunity pretty much gives police officers the benefit of the doubt because
They
of
do.
the line of business that they're in.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
which I understand to a certain aspect, but when there is when body cameras are turned off, when body sound is turned off, when people are shot in the back, when that happens and police officers um, start to change stories and start to hide evidence, and all of those things happen, they need to pay for that. There needs to be some consequences to their actions. You can't just kill people and say, well, that's just part of the job. I
I,
just don't believe that.
I agree. I agree 100% with you, and that's what I'm saying. There has to be some transparency, and
Yes.
we can say qualified immunity, but some transparency. And that's why when we talk about Pat Lynch, like when he just comes out and something
Yeah.
happens, to somebody, I'm just using him as an example, and he comes out
Okay.
and says, "Oh, well, he had prior records." What does that have to do with the person getting shot unarmed? You know what I'm saying? The one thing that happens is it has to be accountability. So
Right.
qualified immunity, you know,
Here's the
it,
definition.
go
Qualified
ahead.
immunity is a legal principle that grants government officials performing discretionary functions immunity, meaning that you're free from civil suits unless the plaintiff shows that the official violated clearly established statutory or constitutional rights of which a reasonable person would have known.
Mm. So basically, what we're talking about, if an officer could be sued for his uh, act of employment, um, I personally, it never, I don't think it ever would have affected me. But the bottom line is that I'm not an advocate of an officer losing his whole personal life due to his actions, because the bottom line, and see, this is the catch 22, because it didn't happen to me and I didn't work in that manner. I'm biased, but I understand from what's happening out here right now. I personally tired of seeing an officer kill somebody of color and then all of a sudden get fired and nothing happens to him? Absolutely. Should I think now? Should they go after his house or his property? Would he learn not to be so gun ho? Yes, because there's accountability that he needs to live up to. So I get what you're saying, Ken. You understand what I'm saying? I understand when I was working, that didn't happen to me. And thank God I wasn't put in that position. And thank God at that time, I wasn't held accountable for any actions unbeknown to me or anybody that I worked with. But the bottom line is what I'm seeing today when people are reckless, like this officer that shot Mr. Blake in the back, like this officer that slime that's put his neck on George Floyd's on neck, right? Do I think that he should be sued and held accountable and you could take his property and his pension and everything? Absolutely. Because he knowingly did that. You see what I'm saying? See, that's the difference. That's the difference right here what we were talking about. When I'm going in the search warrant, and this is, I'm not referring to Breonna Taylor, but like I'm saying, I'm going in the search warrant or I'm chasing the person in the crime, and damn, all of a sudden I shoot, bop, 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 and somebody comes across, and oh my God, I shot the wrong person, but I was just chasing the other dude, and the person came across. That wasn't my intentions.
And for something like that, if explained the right way and all the evidence is brought forth, I get all of that. But I also remember, I won't mention who it was, but someone who I know very well who was into drugs back in the 90s. I remember he used to be chased a lot, by police officers. And he used to say, police officers don't like to chase you.
They don't.
And when they catch you, they used to beat the shit out of you.
That's facts. That's facts. That's real talk.
Is that okay? They don't want to chase you, so don't let them chase you because they're gonna beat the shit out of you.
Let me tell you something. It was an unwritten rule. If we chased you and we caught you, you was getting an ass whipping. It's an unwritten rule. If I chase you, like there was no such thing like how they have today where you can go in corrections, you do something, you spit at an officer, or you do something, and then you throw your hands up. Let me tell you something. If once you ran from a police officer, it was an unwritten rule that you had to go to the hospital with a turban, or you was going to take a beat.
But
the fact that you made us run, you was going to get an ass whipping.
Is that the case today too?
I don't know. What, let me tell you something. When I was working, Ken, you didn't have these kind of shootings. You didn't have these shootings across the world, the country. You understand what I'm saying?
Really?
Right now, what I am witnessing, I am witnessing a lack of heart. I'm witnessing people that take the test are not supposed to be police officers.
But Bill, let me say this to you. I think we're in a different time, so we see more, and what we say is, and I'm not taking up for anyone, and I'm not letting down for anyone, but we'll say, oh well, I saw this on the news. What we see on the news is what made the news. It doesn't mean that there weren't 10 to 15 to maybe 20 acts of the same type of violence, the same type of heinous injustice that just didn't make the news in various cities around the country and around the world. What we see on the news is what made the news. It made page one. So,
well, Alyson,
we've been our heads beaten in. We've been putting in chokeholds, and we got a knee up the neck instead of a noose, and we've been laying in our bed sleeping, and somebody busts in with some sort of whack-a-mole warrant, and I can be shot in the sanctity of my home. It's not that it hasn't happened or didn't happen. It's that this is what we heard because it made the news.
And what about no warrants? What about that?
Hold on. We're gonna talk about that real quick, Ken. But everybody out there, this is Real Talk Chronicles. I'm Bill Forster with my lovely panel, my co-host Alyson Williams tonight, and my man Ken Smaltz. We are just talking real talk. This is what it is. If you like it, share it. I see all the comments, Simone, Vanetta. I see all you, Andre. I see everybody. Veronica, I see you. We're gonna come back. I asked Ken and I ask Alyson to come back and chop it up with you too and reply to your text, and I sure will reply to your comments. But
this will have to be my last one if that's okay.
No, it's all right, Ken. It's all right. It could be the last one. Okay. And I'll just say this, and I'll let you go on this. That what Alyson was saying, that we've been taught all our lives that the man has been abusing us, and there wasn't any footage of it. We've been told by the Panthers or all other people in the streets. Now that there's footage of it, and the man is still telling us, well, that footage ain't right. Wait, let's wait to see the other footage. Well, wait a minute. I don't need to see another footage of me getting kicked in my ass. I know I got kicked in my ass, and I'm telling you I got kicked in my ass. You can't justify me getting kicked in my ass. Like I always tell people with Rodney King, when they said he was moving when they was hitting him with the stick, I don't know anybody out here
Who doesn't
that.
get beat up and doesn't move.
Let me tell
Yeah.
you something. If I pinch you or if I push you, you're gonna move.
If
Right.
I
So the fact
tickle
that
you, you're going
Right. Right.
so Alyson, hold on. Alyson, stay with me. We're gonna let Ken go. Everybody, this is Real Talk Chronicles. This is Bill Forster. Ken, tell people how they can get your paraphernalia. They were asked about your shirt. And Ken, thank you for coming on. Alyson, I'm gonna keep you for a few more minutes because we got some
Okay.
other stuff to talk about.
Ken, I
Ken,
need
I
a shirt
appreciate
and
you.
a hat too, so I need to know how to get that.
Oh,
Yes.
okay. Well, you can go to, it's pretty, Black Folk, no S, blackfolkmustvote.org. You can go on there and buy, hoodies and hats and what have you. That's cool. That's not why I'm doing it, but it's nice for you to wear it because you're spreading the word.
Well, I
But
want to support you. I want to support
I
you.
appreciate that.
And I want to go on and do that. And you got to stand for something so we don't fall for anything.
I
Absolutely.
appreciate that. I appreciate it.
Stand for. It was a pleasure to meet you, and a pleasure to converse, and a pleasure to hear your commentary and your opinion. And Black folk must vote.
That's right. Thank you very much. Pleasure meeting you, Alyson. And
My
Bill,
pleasure.
thank you. Thank you very
Thank,
much.
thank
I
you,
enjoyed
Ken.
it.
Like I said, share it, like it. Everybody, that's my man, Ken Smaltz. He is in the building. Black folk, get out and vote. Ken, before you leave, give them something
Yes.
positive to take with them while Alyson and I hang out a little longer. Give them something
Vote,
positive.
vote early. Vote early. Vote if you are wherever state you in. Every state is different. Wherever you are, get your vote in as early as possible. It is definitely going to matter when it comes to election day. The day after election day, the president is going to pull something, and you want to make it as difficult as possible for him to pull what he thinks he's going to pull.
Hey, Ken, somebody asked to repeat again where they can find your information or anything. Shout out to Al Taylor, our assemblyman for Harlem. Al, you better come on this show, man. Al Taylor in the building, baby. My brother, what's going on? So, Ken, give them that information again, how they can reach you or find you, please.
Blackfolkmustvote.org. Here it is. Blackfolk, is that it? Mustvote.org.
Fabulous.
That's it.
Okay?
Ken, and what you can do when you get off, just come into the chat in the live and type it in so everybody can have it. Ken, thank you, my
Okay.
brother. I appreciate you. I love you. I will talk
Thank
to
you.
you soon. Let's chop it up, man.
You
I'll see
got
you
it.
in a minute, man.
Okay,
All
brother.
right.
All right, take
Now,
care.
I'm going to see you later. Allie.
How
Now, everybody
important?
out here, let me just tell this. I appreciate everything that everybody is chiming in and saying this. I'm just going to change this energy up real quick because, as you don't know, if some of you do know, Alyson was the first original member of Real Talk Chronicles. If for you that don't know, Real Talk Chronicles started from the passing of my mother, and I know. Don't talk about it, be about it. I see you, Al Taylor. Shout out to you, Simone Way in the building. Let me just give Alyson some love right now. She was one of the first few members of Real Talk Chronicles. There was 8 of us. Holly, Al, it was Holly, my cousin Ty, Derek, Audi, Linda, and Alyson and myself. And we was just in the house cleaning up mom's apartment after my mother passed away, and we just all decided to get together and converse about our upbringings and life and things of that magnitude, right? With that being said, Alyson and I, we're going to have a segment on once a month, maybe the second Monday in the month. Alyson, if that works for you, let me know.
Whenever you say.
We're going to do Real Talk with Alyson Williams. She's going to have her own co-host show with me, and we're going to pull in people, and we're going to talk, and we're going to chop it up, and we're going to have this because I love her and I appreciate her so much, and the humility in me, the humbleness. I give back and I reach back and I appreciate her, and this is what I wanted her to know, that I love her and I appreciate her. And on this day, the 30th anniversary of Just Call My Name, I'm going to put that song in this chat group. Please click on it and listen to it. Just Call My Name for all of you who are Alyson Williams fans. Listen to. So what I want to talk about right now, Alyson, What was it like? What did you know? Like, there's so many questions. Tell us, like, when did you know you wanted to be a music artist? I know you coming from your father was a musician. I know that.
I knew all along.
Okay.
I knew all along. There was never anything that didn't tell me I wanted to be an artist. Now, I can tell you, I can share with the audience that initially I felt I wanted to be an Olympic gymnast. Not just a gymnast, but an Olympic gymnast. The problem was I kept growing. And I noticed that all the little Olympic gymnasts were little. And so something was going on. And physically, I didn't click. And then being from Harlem, you know, my parents were paying for me to be in parochial school, and they were paying for me to have music lessons and dance lessons and here and there and that to nurture my artistic appetite. But I didn't want to overtax them, you know. I didn't want to overtax them. In other words, when I came up, you couldn't go down to Chelsea Pier or somewhere out on the island or of Long Island and have a gymnast training. You had to go to camp, and it cost a lot of money. So I said, well, maybe I won't be a gymnast. Maybe I'll be an ice skater. And that was good because I lived across the street from the ice skating rink at 110th Street and up there at Central Park North. At Fifth Avenue and actually 8th Avenue. And I said, well, I'll do that. But I figured it out, Bill. At the end of the day, I just wanted to be able to fly. I wanted to be able to take wing. I wanted something that could free me from where I was, because where I was very oppressive. And my parents, in their desire to free me from my quote unquote hood, ghetto, whatever you want to call it, trappings, had created a prison for me, in which that I had to escape every day because the other children who were disenfranchised, disconnected, didn't have the reach, or maybe their parents were dope fiends or whatever it was, they preyed on me. So all I could do was dream and think, if I could just fly. Or maybe if I lived in another neighborhood, maybe my sneakers wouldn't matter. Do you know what I'm saying? It was that kind of existence I came up with. So, you know, to answer your question, I came up dreaming that I wanted to fly. And so whether it was gymnastics or whether it was skating or whatever, I found that dance would do it. And dance was accessible. So I began to try to excel in that. And indeed I did with the proper guidance and the proper educators from our Harlem basics, which were Mary Bruce, to Ruth Williams, to Alatunde, to LaRock Bay, to Dance Theater of Harlem, that took us to, you know what I'm saying? If you came from Harlem, you had all of these different artist outlets. And so that's how I came to figure out what it was I wanted to do, how I could do it. And I watched the very few African-American artists that I had that looked like me. I watched a Diane Carroll. I watched a Pearl Bailey. I watched a Lola Falana. I watched a Harry Belafonte. I watched a Sammy Davis Jr. I watched these people, and they all sang and they danced and they acted. And that's what I said I need to do. I need to sing and dance and act. And then, of course, every Sunday we had Ed Sullivan or Art Linkletter or the June Taylor dances. We had something that gave us something that was musical and something that was artist, and I gleaned from that. And there you have it. If you listen to Art Linkletter and if you listen and if you watch all those Sunday
I remember that.
You remember, because you had to change the channel. You know what it was. You know, if you listen to all of that, you will eventually end up on Def Jam, and that's how it happens.
So let me ask you a question. How does it feel? A lot of people don't know this and they don't respect this, or they don't hear it, and it's not pronounced enough. But how does it feel to be the first lady of Def Jam?
It feels incredible because I know that I was at the crossroads of a shift in a culture. You know, at first we just thought, Russell would say, and I quote, it's going to be the dopest, most deafest, most underground label for all the underground artists, and it's going to be and he would go on like that 25 times a day. And we just had to watch him as he went through his spiel. And then he made it happen. And he put me in the midst of it because Russell had a vision.
Right,
And within that vision, people thought, oh, this is just going to be we'll see you later. And then it stuck. And everybody said, oh, come hither, my son. Let me show you. Let me be a part of it. Then he did the same thing. He turned around and said, I grew up having blue light and red light basement parties just like everybody else. If it wasn't in the basement, it was in the community center. It was where it was. And we listened to good, solid R&B music. From Gladys Knight to the Dramatics to Motown to ever, and he wanted to produce that same sort of foundation. He wanted to create a strong R&B presence in music relative to what he had grown up listening to that influenced him. And of course, everybody said, oh, what the hell does Russell think he's doing? He's blah, blah. But once again, he delivered. He delivered. And he delivered Alyson Williams, Orange Juice Jones, Tayshawn, Rashad, and Chuck Stanley. So it was through that I became the first lady of Def Jam, and I had this. I think the best thing is to have the support of all of my other comrades. There wasn't a time when a Public Enemy or Houdini or any of those guys, when they saw me coming down the street, if they had a camera in their face or we were at a conference or whatever, they all snatched me up. This is our girl. This is Alyson Williams. She's the dopest, most deafest, most singer. You got to hear her. She's got new music. And it made me feel great and embraced because brothers were as excited about having me as part of their arsenal of talent as I was as having them as a part of mine.
Let me tell you something. I remember one time I was in front of the Apollo, and Russell, he argued with people out there and said, listen, I know Patty is Patti LaBelle, but he was like, I'll put Alyson up against her. He's like, her stage presence, her show is phenomenal. And you know what's so funny? That's a testament. And as long as I've been hanging with you and all the shows that I've seen you do, you are phenomenal. To me, you're almost like, you know how they call Dougie, and shout out to our Harlem Night brother Dougie Fresh. But Dougie could entertain a crowd. Alyson, I've seen you take somebody else's song and make it like your own. I've seen you entertain the whole crowd and put on a whole show, and maybe you cap it off with Just Call My Name, but you entertain them all night.
Maybe it's all those Ed Sullivan shows. I don't know what it was.
Yeah.
And you understand, I used to stand on the coffee table. We had a wooden coffee table, and I had a little pair of fringe boots. I don't know where I got them, but I thought I was in the June Taylor dance. Girl, you could see all. But this is what I can tell you for sure. I remember days, and you talk about being in front of the Apollo, where any given night where we would be out doing what we do, Russell would take me by the hand and take me in the middle of any room, restaurant, wherever, and he would hold my hand up like I was a Michael, like I was a Muhammad Ali, like I was a prize fighter. That's what he would do. He would take me in the middle of the room and he would hold my hand up and he would yell out, and everybody would give him their attention. He said, this is my artist. This is Alyson Williams. And she's the next thing. And then he used to pull a chair out and make me stand on top of the chair. And maybe I was singing happy birthday to someone, or maybe I would but I would have to sing a cappella. He would do this anywhere we went. It was like, and it didn't feel like, are you crazy? What are you doing? It felt like this is how we need to break through to the people. So we did a very grassroots thing that was rooted in his true respect and response to my God-given gift. And I'm thankful for that because it's made me who I am. You can't take a lot of people and hold their hand up in the middle of the room and say, go for it. And they just go for it.
But you know, Alyson, you taught me something a long time ago, and maybe it's just innate in my DNA, but from a promotional standpoint, there's always a thing when you go to a party, of course, this, people shout you out, oh, Alyson Williams, okay, Bill Four Stars in the building. And I would always take a bow or wave, whatever, whomever, or when the DJ announced me. But one thing, I was hanging out with you one time and you told me, and somebody shouted you out and you went up and grabbed the mic, right? And I was like, okay. And we were sitting there just drinking, having fun, hanging out. And you said to me, Bill, I said, Alyson, you good? You was like, yo, you said, Bill, I don't know who you told me taught you this or told you this, but you said, if they offer you the mic, you take it. You get up there and let it know, because you never know when the applause will stop. You know what I'm saying?
You never know if that's the last time they're going to pay attention to you. And you need to let people know that you are there and you are responsible for your being. Someone can give you a platform, but you have to stand on it.
Al Taylor, shout out to Al Taylor, the assemblyman for Harlem. He says, the audacity to dream big. Thank you, Alyson. Veronica, Bill, thanks for always keeping it real. Alyson, I appreciate you. God, good night to you both and have a good, thank you. What's up, Melvin in the building? Eddie Caban is in the building. I see, shout out to Eddie. Shout out to Stephanie in the building. Shout out to everybody. This is Real Talk. Mark Rose is in the building. This is Real Talk Chronicles. I am with one of the original members of Real Talk Chronicles who has inspired me to keep it going, besides my lovely wife and the memory of my mother. Alyson Williams was one of the original 8 people. See the humility and the humbleness in me will always reach back and give props to those that were there with me from the conception of this. Everybody, Malika, my lovely wife, had just put in the YouTube video. Please celebrate Alyson Williams tonight. Click on and watch it again. Let's build that number up.
Woo! 30 years.
Just call my name.
And the album Raw.
This is the album Raw. This is the 30th anniversary of Just Call My Name and the album Raw. So we are celebrating Alyson Williams tonight.
Thank you. Hey, listen, Bill.
We will be segment with Alyson. We will be calling in. Yes.
I'm sorry to cut you off. You froze on my screen. I didn't realize I was speaking over you. I apologize. When Al Tapper said, when is your book coming out? Al, as soon as I can get a moment to sit it down and say it to somebody, it can be out. I've got an incredible story. I think it's relative to every little Black boy or girl that had a dream, and I can't wait. Al, I want to just thank you, Bill, for inviting me to come. And as we make it aware, as we make ourselves aware to those who know and those who don't, your fan base that is already in place. This is the beautiful thing that I love about the Real Talk is, we know where it came from. You know what I'm saying? We know that somebody had a broom and a dustpan and somebody had a mop and somebody was putting books in a box, and we were making it all happen and trying to help you to pull together the remnants of your legacy and your life. But at the end of the day, we have now grown and just evolved. So now we are speaking into the ethers of our presence. We are speaking into what's going on right now. We hold the gauntlet. Before we were coming together because we could and we needed to, and we had to embrace each other, hug each other, and we were still doing what we did, and we still do what we do. It's different in the COVID, but I'm just saying, we're speaking into, we've grown folks now. Oh, geez, we are grown.
Yeah, absolutely grown.
We have picked up.
We're seasoned.
We've picked up where our parents left off. Your mother, my father, they would be proud to know that we are trying to at least speak into what do we do? How do we do? How's it affected us? You as an officer of the law, me as an entertainer, all that. How does it come together? And how do we make a difference? How do we affect change? And I'm so glad to be a part of it. I look forward to it. Me and you, Bill, Alley Cat and Bill on Real Talk. I'm good.
And first, my lovely wife is joining in because she has something to say later on. But let me shout out to everybody that's chiming in on the end of this.
Tell her to stick her head in.
Yeah, go ahead. There he is. There she is. Everybody, Al Taylor just told her to say what's up. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, Alyson. I didn't hear you.
That's okay. I said you have the most incredible wedding pictures ever.
Oh, wow. Thank you. Honestly, it was a dream come true.
And it looked like a dream. That picture
Yes.
looked like it was staged for a magazine. It was for real life.
Oh,
And then,
wow. That's a nice compliment.
hey, listen, how Knucklehead got so lucky, I have no idea.
Shout out to everybody that's watching Real
Real
Talk Chronicles. I am your host, Bill Forster, with my lovely wife, Malika Forster,
I've enjoyed
and my
this.
other co-host, Alyson Williams, in the building. Everybody, the first lady
We
of Def
love you,
Jam,
girl.
30-year anniversary of Just Call My
Yes.
Name. Malika put it in the chat.
Oh, I love that.
Please click on it. Show some love to the video. It is a phenomenal song. It's priceless. Some of you maybe have been made on it. Some of you have made love on it. Some of you have said sorry to it. Some of you have lied about it. You told somebody, yeah, just call my name, and they call your name. You didn't even answer the damn phone. You bastards.
It's just into the pantheon of everything
Exactly.
in the tapestry of our lives. And I thank you, everybody, for supporting me. If it hadn't been for Just Call My Name, regardless of all the other songs that came from any of the Alyson Williams music, that is the one that you embrace and you let storm to it and came and loved me. And Bill, thank you for saying that and for repeating it and for speaking it into the universe. I thank you all tonight. And I thank you.
Alyson, tell them about the last album, which was a phenomenal album. You did a lot of things with Tony Terry on that album. There are some cuts on that. There's some songs on that album that are phenomenal. Where can people hear your music at, Alyson?
You know what? It's so funny. Right now, we're in the midst of making a really wonderful. I won't even say 180, 360. We're just putting some other things and lifting things up into the next level as far as our cyber and web type of visibility. You can find the CD It's About Time on Spotify, I believe. And you can find those duets with me and Tony Terry and so on and so forth. But what I will tell you to do is this: just be patient. By the time that the first of the year comes up, I have new music coming out. It speaks into my jazz roots, produced along with Mr. Maurice Lynch. It's incredible music. You won't even really get it. At first, you'll be like, what? You'll get it. But what I'm saying is that you won't expect it. Let me put it like that. My audiences can get anything. My audience is intelligent, and they are sophisticated, and they are fabulous. And down to earth and real. So I know that you'll get it. But what I'm saying is that you won't realize where I was trying to go until you hear this. On top of that, I have music with Najee, which will come out in the top of the year, and some follow-up music produced with Chris Big Dog Davis. And so I just want you to be patient with me. Everything will be as of the 16th, the new music will be on all platforms, and all of that stuff that Bill's talking about with the It's About Time and stuff should be on Spotify on a CD called It's About Time. If it's not there, it's gonna be there shortly.
Alyson, how about this?
Rebooted, redone, whatever it is you do, it's getting ready to happen.
Well, how about this, Alyson? With all this virtuosity and virtual things that's going on, if somebody wants to reach out and hire you because you need work too and she wants to work, how do you reach out to Alyson Williams? How do they get in contact with you?
Right now, you can reach me on Alyson Williams Music at AOL.com. Alyson, ALYSON WILLIAMS music at AOL. You can also reach out to Bullion Entertainment, BULLION Entertainment. Bullion Entertainment, Saunders and all the folks over there are helping me. They are part of Team Alley Cat. It takes a village to raise even a old chick like me.
Yeah.
So,
and if y'all slow enough and y'all couldn't catch that, reach out to me and I will make sure Alyson gets the message, and we will make sure she will hire. Alyson works. She is one of the phenomenal artists in the game. Alyson, tell them about the movie that you were in. What was that? The movie that you
Black
was
Nativity?
Yes, tell them about that. You were in that.
Nativity. So obviously, it's getting ready to come up to the holidays, y'all. You're going to be seeing a lot of Black Nativity. Please go ahead and stream it, or go ahead and do what you got to do. It's a wonderful, wonderful story, and it's a wonderful holiday experience. with Black people, by Black people, for Black people, and the world. So all of that, and like I said, the new music is coming. The Phyllis Hyman show is coming. There's so many things, and I'm so blessed in the middle of a pandemic to still be able to be creative and to use the gifts that God has given me to go forward and be even more prepared when things start to lift up. I'll be ahead of the game and not trying to catch on. I'm thankful.
Absolutely. Listen, I just want to read some love and comments.
One more time before you do that. They need to check in on Tuesdays. WHCR.
Yes, absolutely. Plug it.
Radio, the voice of Harlem. My show is called Love Notes in the Chill Zone with Alyson Williams from 8 to 10 on WHCR 90.3 FM. If you're in the tri-state area, if you can't get it and you need to get it and beyond in the world, it's WHCR.org.
Alyson, say it again for the slow.
WHCR 90.3 FM, the voice of Harlem. Love Notes with Alyson Williams in the Chill Zone on Tuesday from 8 to 10 p.m. Globally and around the world. And let me tell you something.
Even if they almost they ain't gonna like that shit. They're gonna be mad. So you know what you're gonna do? You're gonna go back in the chat room and type that shit. They're gonna be mad at me. You know how many people talk about.
I love that thing.
This right here keeps me sane. I just go, what are you talking about?
Hey yo, that's the new black Mrs. Rogers neighborhood. That shit right there.
This one right here.
What you call him, Frizzy or something? Oh my God!
Right here. This is all holding it together. This is all holding it together, which is very scary.
Yo, let me read some shout outs real quick, Ali, before I let you go. Yo, everybody, thank you. This is Real Talk Chronicles. I have my host with me tonight. I have my lovely wife, Malika Foster, with me, and I have Alyson Williams, but the up and coming co-host to Alyson with Real Talk with Alyson Williams. We're going to try this the second Monday of every month, Alyson, right? How about that? Let's just put that in the universe right now.
You said so.
We're going to talk about it. Alyson Williams once a month with Frizzy.
I'm gonna have to put Frizzy on the flyer.
We're gonna put Frizzy on the flyer. We're gonna take a picture with you and Frizzy on the flyer.
You know Frizzy's theme song. Dun, 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 dun.
See, that's what happens when the three of us get together, y'all. This is it. This is Real Talk Chronicles. Shout out to Al Taylor, Melba Moore, all of y'all chiming in. Let me tell you something. People have shouted out and they said, yo, Vanetta said, I try to listen as often as I can to support you, Bill Foster and Malika Foster. Love you guys. We love you too. Al Taylor, yo, Al, holler at us. When you want to come on the show? You want to come on my show with Alyson? You want to come on the show with Malika and myself? When you want to come on? Shout out to my man,
Alyson,
Melvin.
Did you tell her that Al married us?
Oh, no, I didn't tell it. We didn't even tell Al. We didn't shout it out and let Al people know. Melvin, yeah. Melvin said, yo, I met Alyson years ago. Rest in peace with my brother, Sam Silver. Rest in peace to Sam Silver, to the Silver family. Appreciate you. Joe Hammond, he said, Alyson, I still owe you music. Still working on it. Next week at the latest. Joe, what you singing about? What you talking about? You can talk about that.
Listen, Bill, let me also say this to you. What you may not know, you talk about you're going to come on the show with me and Alyson, you'll come on with me and Malika. You and Malika are inspiration to us as a couple and what Black love is. So keep on doing what you're doing. And that's on the serious tip.
Oh,
thank you. I appreciate that.
Whatever they join you, they're joining a union. And that's an incredible thing.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Al said he want to come on with all of us. Okay, Al, we got you.
All of us.
Yeah. So, Alyson, I want you to tell people to know too. Also, Malika, let them know about what you're doing tomorrow, sweetheart. Please.
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
So first, Alyson, I have so much love from you from day one, even before I met you, but that was just a bonus to see you in person. You not only have a beautiful voice, but your energy, your spirit is just infectious. And I love it. So continue to share your blessings with us. We need it. Appreciate you. So tomorrow we are introducing a brand new segment to Real Talk Chronicles. I'm so excited about this.
Yes, talk about it.
So we're going to interview small business owners. I
Hello.
happen to be one myself. Bill's one. There's so many people out there. You know, it's a new way of doing business. Like you said, you're doing a lot of things virtually. I want to shine the light on small business owners. And October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So I came up with the idea of, oh, there's got to be someone who is a survivor as well as an entrepreneur. And lo and behold, our friend Audrey Watson is both. So I'm going to interview her tomorrow at 7 p.m. right here on Facebook and YouTube Live. I'm looking forward to it. So I've known Audrey about 5 years now, but I think she just started her business about a year or so ago, and it's booming.
Yes, exactly.
Booming.
It is awesome.
Yeah, so that'll be good. And I think she sent us some treats in the mail, so I'm looking forward to tasting that.
Yeah. Audrey, what does Audrey do? She's a I don't know. Tell me. Yeah, it's real talk. I forget. I got a lot of shit going on.
She owns the Rum Cake Kitchen.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, so honestly, I feel like I gained a couple pounds just looking at her post. Allie, it's crazy. Like coconut cake, all kinds of stuff. Red velvet.
Oh my God.
Pineapple upside down. I'm like, every time I see one of her posts, I gain a couple
You
pounds.
gain a couple of pounds. I'm about to say you gain a couple of pounds.
Exactly. Just looking at it, it looks so good.
Oh no.
So, yeah, so I'm interviewing her tomorrow. And then
On 14th with Wednesday with Kevin Branzetti, we are interviewing, I think, Barbara Wilson, I think is her last name.
She's an author.
She's an author, and she's also going to discuss about she was kidnapped and doing sex trafficking. So that is a phenomenal show. We will be talking about that with her, and we will definitely discuss all about sex trafficking. Please, we're going to do a show about domestic violence. I think also this is a domestic violence, the domestic violence month. We're going to have a conversation about that. So listen, this is real. Yes.
Can we do something at some point? I need to shine a light on lupus if we can.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And I have
you just let me know what day you want to do it.
Incredible sister, friend, and sister that is in my life. I like, the word sister friend is part of the vernacular that I was left in legacy of Dr. Angelou. But some people are more than friend and more than sister. But Terry Miller is a listener and a fan. And
Terry's in the building. I just saw her chime in. What's up, Terry? How are you doing?
Terry lives with lupus and has really turned my eye to what it is and how it is, and even the developments in treating it over the years. I've lived it with her, and so I'd love to have her come on and speak directly into lupus and have people chime in and get the information. So I think that's important.
Awesome. The last time we saw Terry, she came by the brunch party. So shout out to Terry Miller. She came out and hung out with us. Got it. What Al? What you say? German walnut chocolate cake samples available. Al, you cooking now? What you doing?
No, about Audrey's business.
Oh, okay. I'm about to say. So listen.
Sounds good, Al.
So listen. We are chiming. I was looking for the date. Alyson, we're gonna do the second Monday in November. We're going to do the second Monday with Alyson Williams. If that's co-signed, if Alyson co-signs that, we will come back with some celebrities.
That looks like to me like it's going to be November 9th.
Is that okay with you?
I'm good. So far,
all right.
so
okay. Right there, that will be Real Talk with Alyson Williams that Monday, the second Monday every month. We're going to try to do that unless she's on tour somewhere or making that money.
We can do it from wherever I am. Listen,
that's what social media is a beautiful thing.
We can do it anywhere we are. So I just want to make sure that the second is the 9th, is the 9th of November, and that from what my calendar says it is. and then we'll do the 7th, and then we'll move on into January. And listen, we got a date, baby.
I love it.
That's what's up. Woo! Everybody, that's Alyson Williams. Alyson, before we go, give them some words of wisdom, some love. Shout out to everybody that's chimed in with us. We appreciate you. This was a special edition for me. We went way over. We're almost in the 3 hours, but it was a beautiful thing because the bottom line is I had to give Alyson her flowers while she's living. Let me tell you something. I appreciate her so much for holding me down. Al, you getting hungry? Al, let me know when you coming in on so we can talk about this voting rights. Yeah. Al Taylor. We want Assemblyman Al Taylor. Terry Miller. We see you, Terry. Shout out to you, Terry Miller. Yay, on November 9th. Panetta, what about living with Alzheimer's? If I spelled it right. Well, I'm not going to spell it because I don't have my glasses on. Great show. Thank you, Rodney Johnson. Yeah, we could talk. Listen, this is real talk. We could talk about anything. Right now, we just want to get by this voting thing real quick. After November 3rd, we're going to talk about a lot of other things. First, we're going to talk about how we're going to throw 45 out of office because Biden said he'll have Secret Service throw him out by his ears. I want to see it. I'm not voting for him. I'm telling you who I'm voting for.
I want to tell you something. In 2016, I guess it was, after, we started to see where the polls were going, and even the people on the network news were they were woozy and they were odd and off, and you could see, but even in their non-bipartisan, in other words, the news people are not supposed to be, really involved. They can't put their human emotions into it, but you could tell they were like, wait a minute, this is really getting ready to happen. And then it was, and we had Donald Trump in office. After I had finished all of my libation and couldn't figure out anything else to do, I wrote a song. Called Happy Holiday. It's a Christmas song. You can find it on Spotify. I'm just going to say that something good did happen on the night of the last inaugural. And I expect something good to happen again. Maybe God will inspire me to write another song. If not, at least we just got to change the ranks. We have to change the ranks. And we have to get another call to arms in the office. I want you to go out and vote. I want you to continue to practice the protocols of hand washing and mask wearing and sanitizing. I want you to be kind to one another, and I want you kind to one another. And I want you to remember that if we work from a place of love, hate can't win. If we work from a place of love, hate can't win.
Absolutely. That's a beautiful message. Thank you. Alyson, what show are you on tonight?
Oh, Real Talk. Hey,
jump back, kiss yourself.
Real Talk with Bill Foster, y'all. We coming back after they're here with always something good to say. So always tune in. I'll see you again next month. And I love and life.
Love you.
And love you. Miracles in music. This works.
Yeah, that's what's up. That's it. And let me tell you something, everybody. Alyson is always welcome. Her show is the second Monday of every month, but she is always welcome to chime in whenever she wants to. We are on Mondays and Wednesdays, and Malika will be doing her Tuesdays. Yeah. How often? Every 2 weeks? Every other Tuesday. Because Alyson is Real Talk. So she is always welcome back to come in. If she is free, she can just chime in, whatever, and co-host with Malika or myself. And it is what it is. Al Taylor. Al, can we get you right now? Alyson, stay on. Al Taylor, can we get you for next Monday? Al, I'm looking for a confirmation. Al, you said you're ready to come on. I'm looking for confirmation. Everybody, can we get Al Taylor for next Monday? Al Taylor. You want to come on. Go. Terry, we see you in the building, sister. We see you, Terry. Always love and respect to you. We're going to do a show on lupus. That's going to be coming up. Definitely. Al, so let me know when you Al.
We're waiting for you,
Al. I'm looking. Al, we're looking for the type. Right. We're looking for the type. Done? So it's confirmed. Next week, Monday, perfect. Al Taylor will be on this show talking about voting. Our Assemblyman Al Taylor is in the building. Shout out.
I love it. See her mask?
That's it. Alyson, we sending you the Real Talk McChronicles mask.
Yes.
I'm giving, when I get off with you, I'm calling Brother Ken and get me a Black Folk Must Vote t-shirt. I'm done. I don't have to buy no more clothes till the end of the year. I love you.
I love you. Alyson, we talk to you later, sis. Be good.
Bye.
Bye, Allie.
So cute.
Everybody, so this is Bill Foster with Malika Foster.
Hey,
we have an
what's up, Bill?
awesome show tomorrow.
Yes.
Tell them about it. Go ahead, tell them about it.
already.
Tell them again. You got to tell them. Tell them. We were about to go to the 3 hour mark. It is.
Yeah, wow.
I'm so happy.
3 hours. My goodness gracious.
Yo, shout out to Ken Smaltz kicking it about Black Oak.
Yeah, thank you, Ken. I checked out your website. It looks great.
Awesome.
Lots of info.
My brother
on
Ken,
there.
baby, please like it and share it. This is what it is. This is Real Talk Chronicles. Let me tell you something. There's a lot of shows out here, a lot of podcasts out there, but ain't nobody giving it to you real and raw like I am. I'm your boy Bill Foster with my lovely wife, Malika Foster. Shout out to our co-host, Alyson Williams, was in the building.
So much. It's so good to see her.
The 30-year anniversary from Just Call My Name. We put it in there. Like click on it, watch the video. 30 years, the first lady of Def Jam.
Yeah.
You know, we have so much coming up with her. Shout out to Melba Moore that was in the building tonight. Shout out to all of you. So many different names. Simone, Al, Joe, AJ. You know, so many different people that chimed in. Patricia, my childhood friends. Respect and love to all of you who are supporting Real Talk Chronicles. I ask you, I don't beg you, but I ask you, share it to your page. It is what it is. Go to YouTube. I just want
to read what Al said. I don't have my glasses on, but I think it says early voting starts October 24th. Yep, yeah. 10/24.
Yeah, Al.
So, yeah.
So
important.
Ladies and gentlemen, next week, Monday, we have Assemblyman Al Taylor coming on talking about voting.
Yes.
Voting rights. We appreciate it.
So looking forward to that. Yes.
Thank you, Al. Tell the wife we said hello.
Yes.
Respect. Appreciate you.
Hi, Gwen.
Hey, Vanetta. Yeah. What's up, Gwen? How you doing, sis? Yo, we appreciate you all. Terry, good night. You guys are awesome, man. Appreciate you. Malika.
Wow, Bill, this is a record. Were you about to kiss me?
Yeah, I was about to.
Okay, I can't miss out on that. My goodness.
I gotta go.
I know what song we're listening to tonight.
Yeah, Just Call My Name. Exactly. Everybody.
All right, great show.
Malika Foster,
Bye.
Bill Foster.
I'll see you tomorrow, 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock. Everybody support Malika tomorrow. Real Talk Chronicles. I'll be peeping on the low. All right? I see you. That's what it is. Bye-bye. It is what it is. It is over.